Hey, there he is.
Hello, hello, Mr. Drew Wolver. It's been a while.
Yeah, what's up, stud? How are you doing?
I cannot complain. I'm in a good mood. I'm in a really
Good.
happy to see you.
Yeah, likewise, man. How's things going with your personal brand and everything you're building?
Everything's good, man. I don't know if I told you, but I'm kind of just on cruise control. So like a lot of I don't know some of the finance stuff that I shared within the Slack channel.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I've pretty much been in cruise control since you and I met actually.
Yeah, I think that's the vibe that I picked up where yeah, you weren't going like too crazy to try to grow anything, but just like lifestyle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
good for you.
I In terms of like what I'm doing, I'm my stress isn't necessarily from running this. This is a lot of this is like autopilot in terms of like affiliate commission. It was like a
Hmm.
happy accident. After selling 1,600 of these, several hundred people have joined up with Go High Level and stuff.
Yeah,
Um, and then just kind of like, partner with some of the guys, being super chill here. My stress comes from managing the debt. I'm leveraging debt up to my eyeballs in terms of investment. So that's where a lot of my focus has been
I gotcha.
last 2 years.
Going big, huh?
Doing what we can.
I
Doing what we
love it. Yeah, I saw you post something in the in one of the channels and I like saved it. I was like, and I've not had a chance to dive into it, but I was like, I gotta check this out.
Yeah,
Probably onto something.
yeah, yeah. You should totally check it out. I made a video later on about some of that stuff. So I don't know if that's something you're interested in. We can certainly talk about those kinds of things as well. You're obviously in a really good place and definitely believe in like leveraging all that stuff. That's what I did. I went really hard in 2020, 21, and got to a place where I could kind of chill back a little bit.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, it looks like the guys are hopping in. Righteous, Mason, Aman. Drew, who here do you know? I know obviously you know Aman, you know me.
Almond, Mason, I think those are the only two familiar guys that I recognize at the moment.
Okay, cool, cool. Um, I think we might have Jeremy join us here in a little bit as well. Might have like one or two more guys, but I think for the most part, these are the fellas that are doing really the hook method. So I think we
Cool.
should probably go ahead and get started. So yeah, guys, Aiden, Aman, Righteous, Mason, hope you guys are all doing well. Hope you guys are excited as I am for today's coaching session. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna hand it over to Drew. Before I do, though, just really quick, guys. Um, in terms of like what I'm going to be doing, guys, I'm here on this doc. Me and Drew spoke a little bit in terms of like how he's going to be working through this. I will try my best. I don't know, it depends on how things go. I will try to like maybe take these questions like right answers as Drew is explaining them. Um, and or I'll just be down here, questions that arise as Drew is talking. And then if I think if you guys want to maybe type stuff down here as Drew talks, and then maybe some of these questions will just naturally get answered as Drew is progressing through this. And we'll just kind of see how things go. Drew does have, I think, Drew, you still have that heart out. Can't hear you.
You're muted, Drew.
Am sorry. Yeah, no, it's a little flexible. I'll be transparent. It is game three of the NHL Stanley Cup Finals, and so I have an engagement to head out to a sports bar, and puck drops at 7. So that's kind of what I'm up against. But
Fair,
I
fair.
mean, if we're grinding and there's value coming, I don't mind sticking around for a few extra questions.
Cool, cool, cool. So guys, let's be respectful of Drew's time, and just try to listen as closely and as intently as we can. But I don't want to waste any more time. Just want to kind of give you guys a heads up in terms of how we're gonna be doing things. Drew, Mike's yours. Go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we can go get started.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, fellas. Obviously, I want to like thanks to Koshik. I'll give him just a little plug here. Like, I'm only where I am because of him and what transpired. And like, I'll give a brief overview of my model. I want this to be more of a conversation where you guys clearly have been doing a lot of the hooking and some of this, fee to or free to fee kind of model. So feel free, Koshik, also to jump in. And if you want to guide it and drive it in any other way, I have your list here pulled up that I'll be referencing as far as your questions. So I can camp and sit on some of this stuff as long as you guys need to answer any questions that you guys have. So first off, I just background. are all you guys still, is this still like kind of video, like background initially?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
cool. So background in film and television for 10 years, ran agencies and everything like that, did successfully, had a falling out with a partner, lost a bunch of big clients at the same time, and kind of hit the reset button, was like, what do I want to do? Found Koshik, found another coach in the rank and rent space. I'll talk about that. And just kind of hired these different coaches and assembled this kind of model that worked for me. And once I figured it out, I just put the pedal down because I had scaled businesses in the past and built teams. And so that was pretty normal. Now that I had a model, that's what I started going after. And basically been going crazy for about 11 months now and just rocket ship up. Um, Background in, so that just you settle on terms, because I like your guys. It sounds cool when you say free to fee. It's cooler than when I'm like, oh, I'll give them some free leads and then convert them. But it is based on a rank and rent model. Okay, so if you're unfamiliar with rank and rent, it's basically because I was so burned in the past by clients where they would pay me a retainer, I had no leverage, right? They owned all the content that we would create, all this kind of stuff. And because I was burned by that, I never wanted to be in that position again. So I gravitated towards the rank and rent model, but just by Googling, you know, successful models, internet money models online. And I found this concept called rank and rent, where basically you would rank a site on Google for any kind of like home service niche. It would be completely fake. You'd drive leads to it through SEO and organic and maybe Google paid ads.
Five
And
time here real quick. Sorry, guys.
oh, oh, you're good. Um, and basically then we would rent these sites out. Okay, and what I loved about that model was you possess all the leverage. So you're running the ads, you're getting the leads, and the brand is yours. And if the business owner flakes, if he doesn't pay you, you say, sorry, bro, I'm going down to your competitor down the street. I'm going to sell him at 10% less, right? I mean, I never had to say that, but that's the implication, right? You have the leverage to say, if you don't want to play business, I can go to anybody else. And you keep that as a digital asset, right? So there's that whole kind of like almost like digital real estate play in it that I liked. So that was the model, but the problem is it's a little saturated. It's not quick to rank a site. The faster method was running Google ads to it to get leads in hand, but even that was expensive and it wasn't fast. And then when I met Koshik, he taught me about how to do all the meta ads and everything like that. And when I started applying that to this rank and rent model, it just closed what would be a 2 week sales cycle down into a it could be a 3 day sales cycle. Instead of waiting on leads, you're waiting on the business owner to actually go out, give estimates, see that they're real people and that's not a scam and that it's not too good to be true. And then boom, you get them on a closing call. And then I'll get into the nuances of that as we go. And that was a rocket ship. That's where everything changed because I could get the leads way cheaper. I could condense the sales cycle. They were excited because leads were coming in quick. And then we just fine tuned the model from there and scaled it. And so that's what I've been doing now for the past, 12 months, which is basically I spin up fake sites for niches and mainly like we'll do websites, but it's mainly just a Facebook page with an ad campaign and we just rinse and repeat. And we lease out our brands to all of these guys and they rent it for, weekly fees. So that's the overview. Does that any initial questions on that? Does that all make sense on kind of my model and what I do? Cool. All right, so jumping in, I guess starting. So service delivery questions, retention. All right. What is the typical service stack for your clients and what they receive, and what are you typically charging for that? For instance, you offer 15 leads a month via Facebook ads and give them a website where some organic leads come in, etc. And you charge 250 a week for that month one, and then 2 months thereafter. Yeah, so just to update that, if I get 2K per site, that is awesome. Most of the time I'm settling around 1500 to 1600. I always anchor high with 2K. On a trial when it goes really good, they'll transfer right over to 2K, no questions asked, $500 a week. Most of the time it's anchoring high so that I can settle at 1600 or even 1500. Worst case scenario, I'll settle at 1200. I don't go any lower than that. The reason for that is I just know I can find another business owner very quickly and I can at least get that. Okay. Normally with Facebook ads, I try to find a niche that's mid to high tier ticket. So anywhere from like $3,000 and up is their average ticket price for like what a lead would pay for their services. Okay. So in the terms of like, let's say fencing or concrete or tree service or gutter installation, artificial grass, you name it, those are all going to be in that ballpark. Okay. Um, with the right ad campaign, you want to target $20 leads and below, right? So if you're doing a $600 a month, 30 leads a month, a lead a day is where I try to sit and I target. And if I'm getting anywhere from $1,200 to $2,000 in that, that's the sweet spot. Okay, so if a guy's paying me 2 grand, I'm paying $600, if that max in leads, the arbitrage there is, what, $1,400 profit. On average, as I said, most of them are paying between $1,500 and $1,600. I'm still only shelling out anywhere from $500 to $600 in ad spend, and the rest is profit. Okay. The average leads that I'll send over, I try to target minimum a lead a day, so 30 leads a month, and then anything above that is just great, right? I'll try to settle it around to spending $15 a day is the sweet spot for me if I can find a creative that produces at that or a market that accepts that rate. That's normally where I'm sitting. On the few edge cases where I've been able to, spend, $10 a day, that's even better, right? Especially a guy paying me, $2,000 off of just $300 ad spend. It's a great client. And so we just rinse and repeat that. So does that answer that question on kind of the genuine or the structure? Okay. Let me talk about also my conversion because I think or like the first month trial into the second. And I think I'll hit a couple questions because I read through all these of like if I just go linear through my process, you guys will understand why I do, how I set expectations, how this plays into retention, and some of the expectations I set early on. Any questions so far? Oh yeah, we have one from everyone.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna ruin your flow. Question for you. So what happens if a business owner is like, okay, Drew, the system clearly works. I love how the ads are working. How do I spend more?
So they don't know you're spending. So that's another great point. So I don't sell an ad campaign. I sell a brand. So I sell basically leads. So the way I position is exactly like this. It's all in the initial hook. Hey, Mr. Business Owner, I want to get, I got all these leads coming in from this website I own. So the website is the digital asset. That is what I'm selling. You're going to rent my website, which is the brand. The website is the conversion tool. Although I am mainly using on Facebook lead forms, it's still always pointing to the web page. Okay, so even after they submit the lead form, hey, for more information, go to our website where there's also a lead form. There's a phone number, all that kind of thing. Okay, so everything's been positioned to the business owner as they're renting my website. So I rank the site on Google, but I drive leads to it from Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, organic, or SEO, paid Google ads, and Google Business Profile. So I established that early on that leads are going to come from everywhere. I drive them to this website and they're renting my website. So that way it's not they're not like, hey, Drew, juice your ad campaign for me. I want to spend more. They don't know where the leads are coming from as long as they're getting the leads. Now, to your point, Mason, this is an edge case and it's a really great tool for retention. They'll come to me and say, like, Drew, it's just like 30 leads aren't enough. Only like, let's say 20% of them are really qualified. Like, and this isn't for everything, but this can happen where there's just like a lot of tire kickers, more so than other areas. Okay. And they'll be like, I need to close more work. What can you do? Hey man, well, what I can do is it's worked really well with my other customers. They felt the same way. And we found that if we actually ran a specific meta campaign where if you wanted to throw an extra $100 towards the weekly fee, I think I could drum up, X number more leads. So what I'll do then as an upsell, I'll just say, hey, I'm going to tack on $100 and I'm going to try this other thing over here. And what I'll do is then I'll just juice the campaign with, another extra $10 a day. And most of the time they're thrilled with it. They're like, wow, there's an extra lead or two a day. Normally it's an extra lead a day at least, and it's doubled their lead flow. And they close a couple deals and then they're happy. And then I say, hey man, do you want to keep that rolling? And they'll say, yeah. So I'll charge them $100 for that campaign. And if it's $10 a day, if I'm just charging an extra $70 a week, I'm still profiting another $30, a 30% margin on that 100, if that makes sense. So that's how I sell them on that. And then if they're like, hey, I want to do more, then I would just do that. I've already locked in my initial profit by the initial sale. So if they just want to throw more ad dollars on it based off of the way I positioned it, that's fine, right? I may just take a little margin there on that, and they're happy. So that's how I handle that. Does that answer that question?
Yep, that makes more sense. Thank you.
Cool. Sweet. All right. Let's see. Okay, because I was going to go through we'll come back to this. Let me tell you the trial, the free to fee and the gap in between. This changed the game for me, because it was ascending them through the sales cycle, right? I never went for 2 grand out the gate. And I'll give you my exact script because it's the same every time. And it's so important in that initial call that you set expectations clearly, because if you do, it's very easy to convert them because you're not pulling the wool over anybody's eye. They know it's coming, right? But you're basically saying, I'm going to hold off on what's coming to let you try before you buy, kind of thing. So typically in that initial call, I run them through the numbers. I say, hey, this is what most guys make with me right there. And I just basically do a case study. I say, hey, I'll send you anywhere from 20 to 50 leads a month. Out of that, let's say I send you 30 leads, 10 of those are going to be tire kickers and are going to ghost you and just be crap. Okay. I love to lead with that. Tell them they're going to get that. And most of the guys, you're going to know it's a good business owner when they're like, yep, totally makes sense. Right. If they haven't experienced that, well, then, that's a red flag as far as a business owner goes. But somebody who understands, it's a numbers game, right? I say the other 33% are going to be guys that are real projects, but they're not ready to pull the trigger yet. Typically with them, is we lock them in on a deposit, promising a greater discount down the road. And I go, I'll tell you that trick, if we decide to work together. I just tease it there. Okay. I said the other 33% are going to be your deals ready to go. Okay. They're ready to pull the trigger. And, on an average ticket price, let's say 5K, you close 10 of them, right? 33% close rate out of the 30 leads I give you. You're going to have 50K gross. If you're running at 25% margin, which most of my other guys in the country are that I work with, that's going to be 10 to 12 grand take home for you and your family after hard costs and labor. And I take my cut off the top. Does that make sense? I'll say yes, right? And one of the things Coach Sheik taught me is like, I ask questions like, does that make sense? Are you with me at the end of all of these stages to make sure I'm not losing them and that it's clear, right? So once I've established the monetary thing, that's when I go into. So most of my sites rent for $2,000 anchor high to $1,600. Okay, most guys will pay me weekly, $500 to $400 a week. But I'm not going to charge you that. And that's what I say. Or I'll even say, hey, I'm expensive. And then I'll say it's 2,600. And then, I'll brace them for, a sticker shock. And I'll say, I'm not going to charge you that. I'm going to give you the same deal I gave all the other 45 guys who work with me and took the deal. You want to know what that is? Yeah, what is it? Okay. Here's the thing that you need to see. You need to see, can Drew deliver the volume of leads that he's talking about? Can Drew deliver the quality of leads that he's talking about? And 3, can you close them? If the answer is yes to all 3 of those questions, then you and I are going to make a lot of money together. And so the way we do that is you need to put a little skin in the game. I just spent my own money. I gave you some free leads. You may close one of them. If you are, you're playing with house money, and this should be a no-brainer. But if you haven't closed, like most of the time, they'll be still working those leads. They haven't closed one yet. I'll say, so here's what we're going to do. I'm asking you to put, I'm willing to cut my rate in half. Okay. That'd be $250 a week. Cancel anytime. And by the end of the 4 weeks together, if I haven't sent you 15 leads, I'll give you all your money back. Does that sound fair? Because you're going to be able to see in those 4 weeks, is the answer yes to all 3 of those. Okay. And I'll tell them, like, nobody ever cancels with me because I don't get them leads. They cancel with me because they can't close. So what I'm looking for is a salesman. Are you a salesman? And I'll ask them. And that's typically when they'll start qualifying themselves to me. Yeah, I've been in business 20 years and and I'm like, oh, well, that's great. Like, obviously you wouldn't still be in business if you couldn't close. That's great. That's exactly what I'm looking for. And so that's where the rapport starts. They start qualifying themselves to me. The expectation is set. And then I'll say, so here's the thing. Typically the way it works is the first 2 weeks, you're going to be working these leads. You'll probably close one of them or you'll close one of the free leads I gave you. And at that point, the trust is there. And then you get to enjoy 2 more weeks at a discount. And then at that point, we get to talk about what's the future look like. And most of my guys then convert into the $2,000 or $1,600 price range. And at that point, if you're making 50 grand, a month, or taking home 10 to 12 grand to your family, paying me 2 grand is a no brainer. Wouldn't you say so? Yeah. So you price anchor, you anchor them down and be like, yeah, if they're making that money, if they're closing, it is a no brainer. Right. And so typically that's where you've already had the pricing conversation of what the conversion is going to look like on week, 4 when I call them. But typically then, my cadence then is they'll give me the credit card. I'll run it for 250. We turn the leads on and we forward it to them. Week one, we check in. Hey, how's it been going? You just did your first week together. And normally between the free leads or week one, they've closed something, right? Could be around 5 grand. It's like awesome, celebrate it. Let's keep rocking and rolling. And it's typically a text is all I do on that. Week two, and by I do, my team does this now, and I'll talk about how I've trained my team to do this, but let's just assume I am doing all the parts, right? And so this is what I would be doing. Week two, I text them, hey man, how's week two going? At that point, maybe one of the guys has closed a big $15,000 job or something like that. They're sitting at 20K gross. I had this happen last month. Guy signed up with me, closed 37 grand in concrete in his first week. And he's just like, dude, thank you so much for this opportunity. This is amazing. All this kind of stuff. I want to refer all these people to you, right? That was an edge case. It was awesome, but it was super easy from that point on. And then just checking in week four, hey man, on that guy, I didn't even have to call him. I was like, hey, we're going to transition to $500 a week. He's like, yep, no problem. But typically on week four, I call him like, hey man, how's it been going? How much money are you making? Same question every time. Because at the end of the day, if your business owner is not making money, they're not going to pay you. So it's always asking, hey, how many deals you closed? How much money have you made? Right? Bottom line. And typically, if you're doing that every week, you can head off any issues. If they go, I gave a bunch of estimates, they're real jobs, but I'm just not closing anything. All right, hey, let's jump on the call. And this is where then you do sales coaching. Like, okay, what are you doing? Are you creating a sense of urgency? Are you leading with value? Are you being competitive? Are you asking what the other prices they're getting? And so that you can be competitive. You can't beat them on price, beat them on value. What does that mean? How do you do that? All of those things that you would then coach them to help close more leads, right? What's their follow-up like? Are they calling these people once? Are they doing double dial voicemail and a text approach? Are they following up every day doing that? Right? All of those things are the diagnosing questions that Koshik runs you guys through all the time to figure out what's working, why aren't you guys closing? So you do that based on whatever the issue is. And so by the time you get to week four, you should have already addressed these things with your business owner. Either they're hungry and they're teachable and they're going to course correct and close deals, or they're not. And you're better off just letting firing them and go and finding somebody else and rework those leads that you sent them the week prior. So like if a guy cancels, closes, or whatever, we'll turn off the leads and I'll give my team all his leads from the previous week and I say call them and use those as for warm handoffs, and we just recycle them. Even if he's giving quotes, we'll call him and be like, hey, were you interested in getting another competing quote? We got another guy we work with. And we'll just feed those leads off to him, especially if they cancel, right? Um, so at that point, normally that's the transition to how we convert them to the ongoing weeks. And at that point, it's normally just they'll check in if they're having an issue with my team, right? The trust is already there. They know how to work the leads. And then it's just kind of ongoing. People do cancel if they can't close. And so there is churn. Right now I looked for Koshik because I know he wanted to know some of the numbers. I thought those you guys were asking that too. And I think I'm hitting a lot of your questions, right, going through this, but churn right now, and I was surprised to see this, it was when I first started over 50%. And one thing I want to encourage you guys with on this is you may have 3 or 4 business, if you do my model, right, where you maintain the brand, right, and people are renting your brand, is that you may go through 4 business owners and all 4 of those guys may hang out with you for a month or two, right? And then eventually you find the one who's really hungry, is a good salesman, and knows how to work the leads, and then he just sticks around on autopilot forever. So if you stay, you're going to get through the bad apples to eventually where you find the right apple in every market, and then they just become the guy that you never hear from that pays on time, and you just have this book of business that's really solid. My other coach, Nick Wood, who taught me a lot of this stuff too, said the same thing. He's at like, oh, he was at a 100K or something a month, and he was saying the same thing. Yeah, the first couple of years you have a higher churn, and then you're finding the right business owners to rent your sites, and those are the solid sales guys that stay. And eventually at that point, it just becomes an autopilot thing because you built the book of business for yourself with solid guys. But now my churn is at 28 or 29%, partly because it's a volume game and finding the right guys, but that's only part of it. The retention game is also on all the things I was talking about through month 1 of coaching these guys, teaching them how to sell. And then I also attribute some of it to the stuff we're doing with AI on that side too. And I know we'll delve in a little bit on specifics. Oops, that's not the right. questionnaire tab on what we do with retention. So let me pause there because I just kind of ran through that. Any questions on the hooking through the trial to converting them to ongoing?
I have a few questions. I'll kind of lead this. I'm sure Aman, Righteous, Aiden might have a few questions. Guys, you guys really want to ask questions here, okay? Please ask questions, ask some follow-up questions. Um, my first question, I have two main questions. My first one is regarding pricing. Most of the guys in here are saying that by the time they get to the sales call, the business owners completely forget, hey, it's $2,000, but it's going to be 1,000 for the first month. And it's 250. Da 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 da. To me, it sounds like you are really drilling on pricing. You're really making sure it's embedded, it's tattooed in their mind where they stick to that, so that by the time you get to the sales call, they 100% remember it. Is that fair that you are drilling so hard that by the time they get to the sales call, they'll remember? Because these guys, that are doing it right here, are saying that they forget. So my hypothesis is that they're not maybe drilling hard enough, that a lot of the reason you close, or not the reason you close, but it's a big part of the sales process, is they kind of like they kind of like stick to that price point. Is that, again, sorry, I feel like I'm blabbering here, but is that fair to assume that you go really hard and that by the time they get to the sales call, they already know? You don't have to say it and it's like a surprise. Like they already know. That would be my first
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, I've set that expectation in the initial closing call because I don't want to waste my time if they're just going to balk at the price. So I do like being fully transparent. This is where we're going. I'm going to give you this half off, 250 a week, and I want you to pay $500 a week ongoing. But I'm going to demonstrate my value to, again, those three questions: quality leads, and can you close them? If
Okay.
the answer is yes to that, wouldn't you agree, Mr. Business Owner, that that would be worth $500? Anchor them down. Get like, yeah, and I'm doing that in that call because I want them to say yes. Okay, that's reasonable. I'll do that deal, right? One of the other lines that I do like to say is like, listen, Mr. Business Owner, the downside for you is that you pay 250 this week and you don't get any leads and you're out 250. And I always say, if 250 is going to break your business, well, then you're probably not the right business owner for me. And then they'll laugh. They'll be like, yeah, I'd have bigger problems. I'm like, yeah, you would. And you're not, seriously, like, you're not the right business owner if 250 breaks it. Okay. Because those are the guys who aren't going to pay on time, have cash flow issues, a whole bunch of stuff. Right. But the upside for you is I give you leads and this pops off and you're going to be making this money. And as I said, if you're making 10 to 12 grand take home for your family, paying me 2 grand is a no brainer, wouldn't you say? Yeah. Right. It shouldn't be just you monologuing. It should be getting them to buy in, making sure they understand. And I'm price anchoring them or price setting or whatever the phrase is. I'm getting them to say, yes, I will pay you that if you can do those things. So
Got
there's
it.
no objection when we get to
Right.
week 4 of the trial.
So thank you for that, Drew. One more question, actually made it a two-part. So guys, first of all, a big takeaway there is, you know, again, one thing that Drew said earlier was like, hey, does that make sense? You guys understand? Da da da. So really sit on it and listen. Like, do they actually understand you? Or are they just like trying to get some free leads, or like, hey, this sounds like a cool opportunity? Or are they really buying in? Get them to really buy in. Make sure that they really understand. Say it in multiple ways. Sounds like Drew will say something and then he'll say it in multiple different ways so that it really sticks. So just don't, he said, don't go through it like it's a script, guys. Right? Really stick on that. Make sure that they understand. My second question is this, and it's kind of a two-parter, which is, you said your churn was 50%. And I think, thank you so much for sharing that, because now, guys, it's a perspective shift of like how many people churn and kind of don't make it through. It's a numbers game, as Drew was saying. So my question is, in terms of 50%, like, is that 50% of all the people that you close? The second question is like, what is the percentage of people that churn within those first 4 weeks, making it to the second month? So that's been the biggest problem with these guys, is like they'll get people in, but then it's somebody quitting before they get to month 2. So what is, I guess, like, what's your conversion rate of that? What's your conversion rate of getting people from the first 4 weeks to the next 4 weeks? Or is that what you're talking about in terms of churn?
Yeah.
And then a third question would be like, what percentage are the studs? So I know that's a little bit loaded, so I can go through this one by one. So yeah, when you say that 50%, is that overall 50% of the people that you close are churning?
Yeah, I would have said, yeah, I don't have the specifics to tell you, well, other than a feeling. I can tell you from maybe the past month or two, because I have that data very, very prominent in my head. Because I always get bummed anytime anybody cancels, right? I could close 5 deals and then one person leaves. I'm just like, oh, this is bummer of a day, right? But it would be in general of them canceling either in the trial or after their ongoing was over 50% in my first year. That would, or I would probably say the first 7 to 8 months. Now, the edge case to that, fellas, was that in December, it is just a sucky time for uh in particular like concrete, right? Because there's just winter, the ground gets cold, they can't pour in the north. So there was variables to the niches that I was playing in that it made it hard. And then on top of that, the holidays, people aren't, doing a patio or cutting trees or anything. They're spending money on, Christmas presents. So that was a variable. I lost 33% of my business in December. I sold nothing in December. And I had a sales team of three people going at it plus myself. Okay. And for it was nothing to do with the sales. It was just the market and learning the seasonal aspect. And then it was in January, February, everything shot back up. But some of those guys came back out of the woodwork and said, "Hey, do you still have that opening?" And right, then you just quickly recover. So there's some factors there that don't that need to be taken into consideration. But I would say 50% of everybody I close, over 50%, was leaving, and now we've
I-
tightened our retention process on that.
If you have 10 people that you close, how many of those are going to churn within the first 4 weeks?
Not a lot. And I'll explain this so that's what I can speak to of what we've really been focusing on now is retention. So here's some of the tools just out the gate that we do. The weekly touch points, okay? You're checking in to feel where the pain points are because they're looking for value. If you can bring value and help them close the deals, like at the end of the day, bottom line is they got to close the deals, and you can't close them for them unless you want to go be a sales guy for them. And there's no way to scale that. So it's a matter of how do you offer value in coaching. So one of the things that I do, for example, is I was doing this on the sales call. I'm moving to Loom because it's just too much now. Is where I send them a training video, 5 minutes of basically the top sales points that you can use to work these leads, and just giving ideas like always know what you're bidding against. Meaning, hey, ma'am, thanks for letting me give you a quote. Are you getting bids from anyone else? If you are, what's the lowest price you got? Because if I can beat it, I will. Boom. You should never be quoting somebody for a home service project without asking that, right? So that's one. Beat them on price. If you can't beat them on price, beat them on value. Oh man, I can't beat that price. I can match it, but if you work with me, I can throw in a free XYZ over here, pad for your grill, something like that, right? They know where their margins are, what extra supply costs, and how they can compete. I say always when you have those fence sitters, I got to talk to my wife. Oh, I'm not sure yet. I'm just trying to get a price. Be like, hey, I totally hear you. You know what? I have an opening in the next 2 weeks, and I really want to keep my crew busy. If you were able to commit to me in the next 24 hours, you know what I could do? I could take an extra $500 off your bill. Oh, I could throw in a free slab for your grill. Oh, I could extend your driveway here. I could do X, Y, or Z. But you have to commit soon. Otherwise, take as much time as you need. We'll be happy to work with you. So it's creating urgency that they're going to miss out on value if they don't pull the trigger soon. So I line this up and I actually tell them this on the closing call. I'm like, hey, I've crowdsourced from like 45 different guys I work with. This is what works with them. If you do this, you're going to close more jobs. Then I talk about following up. I say, this is how we follow up. You do a double call, voicemail, um, text, double dial, voicemail, text approach, right? And I walk them through what that means, why that works. And then they need to do it for 3 days in a row. And then finally, I say, and this is now we do all with AI. Um, and I don't know, I don't have enough data yet, fellows, but I do know everyone really likes it. I've gotten tons of feedback. So one of the things that we do, every lead that comes in, you talk about speed to lead, right? Initially, I had, and so it's built in high level, right? It's what I've been using just to give you guys transparency into that. I was just sending an automated text through high level that would say, hey, Mr. Driveway owner, we got your lead form. This is Ocala Concrete. We're going to call you as soon as we can. And that's what I was doing. Okay. But what we've pivoted to, as soon as the lead comes in, I have an AI bot that sounds absolutely human named Sarah. Call them. Hey, this is Sarah with Ocala Concrete. Got your lead form. Thanks so much. Hey, are you free now? I want to get you with my team to schedule an estimate. They'll say, yeah. They're like, okay, hold on 1 sec. And then she forwards the lead over to the business owner. The business owner gets a text. As soon as that call's connected, though, when Sarah has them on the line, says, hey, I got Joe Schmo on the line. I'm going to be patching him over. So it gives them like a 15-second warning that we got someone there. And then Sarah also tells them, hey, if they don't pick up, they're probably on a job, just leave a voicemail and we'll get back to you. Boom. Okay. And then we mark that as delivered in our CRM, and then it's the business owner's job to follow. So not only is the business owner getting texts and emails in real time when the leads come in, we're texting and calling the lead in real time, getting them on the phone and patching them off. If that driveway owner doesn't answer, Sarah then throws them back into a follow-up cycle, waits 25 hours, calls them again and texts them. Waits another 25 hours, right? And she'll leave a voicemail. Hey, this is Sarah, blah, blah, blah. I was trying to reach you and get you scheduled for an estimate. Same thing with text. She's like, hey, this is Sarah again, just making sure that my team got a hold of you. Did they get a hold of you? Because here's the thing, I don't have visibility into the business owner to know how many times he's calling or texting. But if they write back and they're like, yeah, Jim got a hold of me. Sarah's like, awesome, glad you're taken care of. Boom, marks them disqualified or, inactive and moves on. So we don't harass them. So it's a system that we've used to help our business owners who suck at follow-up to follow up and get that. And they're also, what's powerful is they're getting the text in real time that, hey, we got this business owner on the phone. So what this does for them and also gives us leverage when they call like, oh, none of these leads are good. It's like, bro, I have this whole thing right here. I've gotten all of your leads on a call and I've transferred them over to you. The issue is not the leads, the issue is you, right? I don't say that, but like that's what I'm thinking, right? And that's the concept there. So that's worked really well as part of our retention. And the way I position that is I don't say we're using AI. I tried leading with that. Most guys don't fully get it. Some of them think it's cool. What I just say is because we're doing the warm handoffs with my team, which I think all you guys understand that if you don't, in the trial or in the hooking phase, my team humans are calling the lead, getting him on the phone, calling the business owner, doing a warm handoff where they merge the call and verifying that the business owner actually got those leads. Okay. In the sales call, I say, hey, moving forward, I'm going to send you the leads directly. I'll also have my team reach out to them to get them on the line. If we can get them onto the line, we'll just forward them over to you. Sound good? Yeah. So optically, they think humans are calling all these leads and just patching them over. And that's a huge value add, right? It's having a full-time receptionist calling them within 10 seconds of that lead coming in and handing it off if we get them on the phone. So we rolled that out about a month ago and have heard just tremendous results on that. So I know that that's a whole area of like, how do you leverage that? How do you build that? But I did want to lead with that because that is, I think, a really important thing, especially when you deal with speed to lead and being able to track like, hey, these are real leads. We're getting them on the phone and we're patching them over to you.
Drew,
Any questions on that?
Drew, I'll send you something. But there's a guy that I know that's doing, he's about 200,000 per month doing what we're talking about in terms of AI. And he's able to get these guys to do high ticket pay, like 10, 12 grand up front. And I've got another mentor, my initial mentor, he actually hired this guy. And so there's a lot of cool stuff in terms of like using AI and working these leads and all stuff.
Yep.
Some of the stuff that me and I'm gonna have explored. I just want to bring that up is like I definitely, it sounds like you've kind of been doing this for about a month and a half or so. It's like so big. So I think there's a lot of room there. But one thing I want to kind of backtrack with really quick, and the reason I'm asking these specific questions, Drew, is like I want to ensure that the guys are motivated. And I think it kind of like crushes their soul a little bit where, like you said, you have somebody that churns. And so I just want to set the reality of like, hey guys, like what percentage should you be closing? What percentage is going to churn? If they understand that, then it's like, oh, I'm supposed to lose 50% of people. That's
Yeah.
normal within
Yeah.
KPI. That's where that question came from. So I guess
Yep.
my next question, kind of harping on that, is like, let's say you get 10 studs or 20 studs, or I'm sorry, 10 or 20 clients. How many of those are going to be studs that are going to stick with you month after month after month?
Yeah. I was looking at the numbers because I saw those questions. Looking at that. So my LTV, and again, excuse me, this is going off of not even a full year of data. And also we've been changing a lot of our stuff. I think it's sitting around six six to $6,500 LTV. The average per month is sitting around $1,700 monthly reoccurring is kind of where I'm averaging there. The studs will stick around indefinitely. I mean, once you find them and you're delivering quality leads and they're closing, they stick around. But as I said, it's not uncommon to have to go through 3 or 4 business owners in an area to lock that in.
So 3 to 4 business owners in an area to get your stud.
Hmm.
Okay, got it.
Now you're making money off those other guys, right? And then those other guys could come back, they could be sporadic guys. Like there's always ways to go back and close them, give them another area. But yeah, the studs, as I had mentioned, and again, I've only been doing this successfully for about a year now, where Nick Wood was like, hey, once you're 2, 3 years in, you've got a solid group of studs. Just keep at it. And so it really is just a numbers game.
Okay. Takes 2 to 3 years at that volume to have decent recurring revenue.
Yeah, sorry guys, I don't have a better answer on that. If I knew a better way to find the studs, to me it is a volume thing. You're just constantly hooking. Obviously, you want to do good qualification. That's what I teach my team, so we're not giving away free leads and wasting time. And there's good questions that you can do to find that out. But at the end of the day, they're going to try to sell themselves to you, right, as a good closer, and the proof's in the pudding. You don't know until they start getting the leads and what they can do.
I, guys, those are the questions I had for Drew regarding
Yeah.
the second question of retention. If you guys want to hop in and ask your questions.
Yeah, Drew, are you even doing an onboarding like call with them, or are you literally just like, hey, here's the training videos, and then you'll do your weekly text like right off the bat?
Out the bat. Yeah, my onboarding is just that closing call when I take the credit card number. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, let me give you some tips on how to close this. And that's a 5 minute talk where I literally went through those points for you guys, which are pretty applicable for any home service company. And I'm going to do that in a Loom. So what happens is there's an onboarding email that just recaps what I said. Hey, I'm going to give you 250 a week, minimum 15 leads or your money back. Here's what I recommend on how to work the leads. Watch this Loom video for some extra sales tips, and boom, that's it.
Okay, so you're not because I know you mentioned creating out that go high level like AI caller and stuff, but like I assume you're not building out any kind of like go high level accounts for them. You're
No,
literally just like just forwarding everything
correct.
and it pretty much starts ASAP. Because like we're kind of struggling keeping people on for like a month, but and we're doing like an onboarding and everything. We're trying to set proper expectations. So like I wonder if part of it's just like they're getting a percentage of leads that are maybe from the rank and rent, and then some that are Facebook. So maybe this like diversification of leads is what's helping, or if it's literally just like we're just not going hard enough on the closing call in terms of setting expectations.
Yeah, I looked at that to tell you guys how much organic versus meta ads, less than 10% organic. So much so
Oh wow.
I
Okay.
don't even
So
look at it. I
yeah.
do very little effort on the SEO thing. I mean, I got a guy and we'll do it. We'll do backlinking, we'll do it all, but on maybe 1 or 2 sites, is it more than 10%?
Mm,
It's so negligible for me. And yes,
right.
the less that I can have the client have any engagement with tech, have to train them onboarding. I mean, I don't even do video calls with these guys. Everything is phone call. Everything's done over phone
Wow.
call because I don't have the time if I'm on the go to jump on a video call. It's way easier to just be moving and shaking and do a phone call. My sales calls don't last longer than 30 minutes. Most of them average 20 minutes. Um, and it's just trying to condense everything down and it becomes a volume.
So it sounds like the biggest thing that works for you is just getting through the three people in the area until you find your stud. And then once you find your stud, you could just give them the most basic, like follow up, blah, blah, just do this. You're gonna get the leads forwarded, and then they'll stick with you long term. And then that's kind of what.
So transparently, guys, like, I mean, this is the first time I really actually had a conversation trying to find the stud kind of thing. Like, I actually don't even think about it. Like, I just assume everybody's a stud
It's
and
Right.
that
just a
they're going to stick
volume
with
thing.
me forever.
It's just
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
volume is what I'm hearing, Drew. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like
Yeah. I'm not
mass.
trying to qualify them as a stud. I'm just trying to qualify them as a salesperson. And
Right.
then hopefully you luck out and you deliver good service and leads and they're closing and they stick around.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Aman, did you have
Uh,
anything else for Drew regarding this? Regarding
um, No, I mean I'm also building on like the AI caller and stuff, and that was like exactly where I was heading in terms of like just get them on the phone and then just forward the call over. So it's good to know, like I just closed the client, so hopefully I was like I don't know how that's gonna work, but it sounds like it's working well. So
Cool.
Righteous, Aiden, Tenny, do you guys have questions regarding retention? Or if not, we can go and move on.
Drew, I had a question.
You-
So, um, in terms of like finding the studs, I know you made a worksheet that like helps people with service delivery or not service delivery, but like sales fulfillment, if that makes sense. So is there any indication that you can tell of like maybe a revenue number, for example, maybe like a Google review number, for example, that is very common with your studs, or is it kind of like all over the place?
Great question, man. I don't know because I haven't tried to track like quantify what a stud is. Like, is a stud somebody who just sticks around more than 3 months, 6 months, or is it based on a revenue number? I don't know. I haven't thought about it that way. I would just say a good client is someone for me who doesn't bother me much and pays on time, right?
Yeah.
Um, and for them, if I had to say, they speak good English, they have great interperson skills. Like when I talk to them on the phone, most of the guys, I'd be like, oh, I could see myself having a beer with you. And it's just kind of the things of like you see in Koshik, you see the guys who are closers, right? Like they have confidence, and it's just those are the guys when you find them as a business owner, most likely they're going to be good closers. And the other thing is if they've been in business for over 10 years, they most likely know how to sell or have somebody who does just to stay in business that long.
Okay. And then one other question is, in terms of your personal workload now, how many sales calls would you say you're taking a week?
Great question. I need to be
Or
doing
I guess I
more.
wouldn't say sales calls, excuse me, Drew. I guess I'll say like how many people, like if there's a quota that you need to hit on a weekly basis,
Yep.
how many people are you hooking a week, would you say?
Yeah, great question. So I actually have that information. Let me just think, because we've been building that out with my sales manager. Um, so we have 5 full-time salespeople now, and the quotas that we're going after is they need to each get. It's kind of based on my closing because none of them want to close; they're just setters. So, but assuming I'm doing everything I can to close, I have about a 50%, a little more than 50% close rate. So if they need to hit a quota of 2 closed deals each, um, they need to get me 5 sales calls a month. So I'm on 25 minimum sales calls. So averaging, a little less than one a day. Um, and that's kind of how we're doing it. And so to get 5 sales calls, if you backwards engineer it, they're probably hooking um, twice as many, right? They'll go through a trial, a guy will ghost them, right? They'll take those leads and go hook somebody else. Sometimes they'll be hooking 2 people and using the same leads on the same people just to increase their odds, that kind of thing. So I would say if you want to be on 25 sales calls to be able to close half of them, close, let's say 12, um, you're going to want to hook 50 business owners. So out of those 5 salespeople, each of them are trying to hook 10. 10 hooking calls a month. They may be working 5 sites, right? Two business owners per site. Does that answer that question? I know it's jumping around.
Yeah, that makes sense. That when the guys are trying to do these handoffs and trials, I think most guys are able to do like one, maybe two. And so it makes sense that hey, you got your sales guys doing 2 a week. If they're doing 2 a week in terms of doing the hook calls, are they working the leads as well and doing the
Yeah.
handoffs? Yeah, so that makes
Guys,
sense.
guys, even when I was doing it before like when I was doing it with my first salesperson, like I never stopped doing it until maybe I had like 2 or 3 salespeople. Even at my like as organized as I would lose track if I got into 3, like at a time if I was working 3 sites at one time because you're like maybe 5 leads for each site. There's 15 people that you're trying to play phone tag with to get to the business owner, and it was just a headache. So yeah, I try to break it up. I think working 2 sites or two deals a week is a really healthy place that you should be able to do. And yes, they're hooking the business owners, they are calling, qualifying the leads, scheduling the warm handoffs with the business owner, and then scheduling the sales call. And after that, and we'll get in, I know you guys want to get into this, how I structured it, they're incentivized the first month trial to be whatever they need, customer support, because they're commissioned on retention on that second month too. So I have them not only setting up the deal, me coming in and closing it, then month 2 being like, hey, like for example, when I go, hey, it's your job, go save the deal. They're like, yeah, I got Mario and Enid. He's not closing anything. He says these leads suck. I'm like, bro, not my problem. It's your deal. Go save it. So I was like, and he's like, well, what's that mean? It's like, go call their leads, get them on the phone and get them over to them if you want the deal, right? Like it's that kind of thing. It's like, what are you willing to do to save the deal? So
So their
Um,
commission month two, not month one? Like, so
I,
with the first 4 weeks?
yeah, so I can walk you all through that here. I'll go from start to finish because there's nuance to it. Do you want me to
Yeah.
dive into that now, or is there any other questions on
I think that maybe there might be a few questions. So yeah. Were you gonna say something?
I was just gonna say because I'm testing a VA out, right? And so what I'm having him do, like SOP wise, is Mondays he does his hooks. So what I have him do is have him keep hooking until he finds what he like thinks is a good qualified one. So
Yep.
I trust his like decision on it because I've heard like the people he's hooked. He's told me what he ranks to me what he thinks are the best ones, and when I listen to them, I agree. So typically he'll do like three hooks on like Mondays, but then when I launched the ads, we started the trial, and then we just give them to the most qualified. So we're kind of just betting it all on one person. And
Okay.
then worst case, if it doesn't work out, then I can just follow. I have a text. I follow up with the other guys. That kind of re gets them to agree to the
Hmm.
trial. But is that like, would you say that would be a good workflow where Monday they do their hooks and then Tuesday through Friday they're kind of just sitting around waiting for the leads to come in? So I have them do morning follow-ups with leads that came in the night before. Or at least each person should be called like 3 to 5 times. But for the most part, like, he was waiting, I like launched the ads at like $50, sometimes $100 a day. And he's just waiting for the leads to come in Tuesday through Friday until he can get his three warm handoffs. I don't know if you still qualify by like three warm handoffs and then you push to the sales call, or like when do you decide to push for the sales call? So that's a different question. But I guess like that's my current SOP, but I don't know if your VA's workflow is a little bit
Yeah.
different.
No, no, I think you're really close and pretty spot on. So Monday and Fridays, hooking days. Monday, hook 'em, run the campaign,
Okay.
do handoffs through Thursday, and then hopefully schedule 'em for a sales call Friday, depending on if
Yep.
they've given estimates yet, or depending on like what niche you're in, right? Or then schedule for early the next week. Hook Friday, then run leads through the weekend. Best time to get leads, at least in the home service industry, right? And then boom, they're ready to go, hand off the estimates or do the estimates at the beginning of the week, schedule midweek for the closing call. So that's the
Okay.
two days we focus on. Monday and Friday are hooking days. Everything else is, prospecting, handoffs, sales calls, that kind of thing.
Okay, cool. And for the trial, are you specifically trying to hit three trials, or is it are you kind of feeling out the business owner like, oh, I went like we did an estimate, and then you like say you only got them one, but then you try to push them for the sales call. Like, do you have like a specific criteria?
Yes. So I've been a big stickler on this because you will notice a big difference in your closing calls. If the lead has been given three warm handoffs versus cold handoffs, like, hey, Mr. Business Owner, I
Right,
just
right.
didn't want this lead to go cold, so I'm just texting it over to you. Do
Right.
not do it. It's a waste of
Yeah.
time and money. Okay.
Yeah.
You got to do the warm handoffs because what it does, it shows that you're working their business better than they are or harder than they are most of the time. Okay. So it's going to build trust. And they'd be like, nobody else is doing this for me. Angie doesn't do this for me. Home Advisor doesn't do this for me. Right. So the warm handoffs builds rapport, which is great
Mhm.
for the closing call. And then, second, do not schedule the sales call until they have gone and given estimates, at least two of the three. Okay. Ideally three, because the problem is you get on a sales call where they scheduled the estimates but haven't gone. They don't know if they're real people or if they're fake or
Right.
anything like that. And then the objection of trust is just very difficult to overcome. And almost, I can't. I have to be like, all right, you know what? To be fair, because honestly, if I was in their shoes, I'd want the same thing. Go see that they're real people. Let's reschedule for next week. Right. And so I just told my team, I don't want to jump on any more sales calls unless you have verified that they've gone and given at least two or three estimates. Okay. They got to know that they're real people. But once you've done that, boom, sales call. No more free leads. If anybody closes a deal, even on one deal, and they're like, yep, I closed it. End of trial, sales call. No more free leads. Right. And
Cool.
those are great sales calls because I lead with, dude, you just made money off me. You're playing with house money. What do you got to lose to invest 250 for a week? Let's go. Right. If this ain't, then
Right.
that's one where I'll get irate with them. Like I rarely will I get angry. Like obviously I'll talk a little more aggressively here with you guys. But if I've given somebody money, they make money, and I go, hey, let's go 1 week, 250. And they're like, oh, I'm not sure. I'm like, bro, if this is not a no-brainer, you're not the right fit. And then I'll wait. And if they don't immediately change their mind, I'm like, yeah, this ain't the right fit. Bye. And I'll move on. It just pisses me off. That really pisses me off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I've seen a few cases where we had one guy. this guy closed like 2 or 3 deals and then still churn. I'm like, how? Why?
Yeah.
Like, it makes
Well,
no
and that
sense.
just indicates to me it's like, you're just not a good business owner,
Right.
right? No
Right.
judgment, and like you're not going to stick around. Like you wouldn't be able to appreciate the value of this, and eventually I would just have to resell the site anyway. So I just cut and run then on that.
That
But I
makes sense.
will say, if you guys take a good point here, these leads are yours, okay? You don't own any loyalty that to them until they start paying you, right? I don't do even do contracts, but the way just my ethics go, these leads are yours. So you can be working two business owners at a time, at the same time giving them the same leads. Okay? Let them both go. It's not about them being exclusive with each other yet, right? It's exclusive once they commit to you. So the moment somebody skips payment or doesn't pay me or says they want to cancel, again, I'm going back to their past 2 weeks. I don't care if they have estimates out there and they're hoping to close one of them, right? To maybe continue working with me. You say you're done, those leads are immediately given to my team and they're going hooking another business owner on that kind of thing. So I milk those leads for all they're worth. And so getting into CAC or customer acquisition costs, I did skip over that, but to give you those metrics, guys,
Yeah.
if you've cracked paid ads for a certain niche and it's $20 or below, you should, on average, I looked at this, Koshi, I thought this was pretty crazy. My average, depending on the salesperson, it's like how well they work the leads, right? So there is that variable. My top sales girl, $60 client acquisition costs.
Hey, no way.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
way.
And then my highest for my other team, again, this is like why my sales manager is so important, is because she drives performance. She can hold them accountable, be like, wait a minute, why is this over $200 customer acquisition cost? What happened? They're like, oh, I had to take two guys through a trial, both ghosted. Now I'm on my third one. Oh, that makes sense. But if it's one guy and you're at $150 ad spend already and you have 10, 12 leads, bro, our sales team ain't working those leads well enough because there's no reason we need to go through 12 leads before we can get on a sales call. Even with crappy tire kicker leads, you should be able to get 6 leads and at least get three, even two on the line with some solid handoffs, right, to go. So yeah, on the high end, we're at around 150 client acquisition costs, low end 50.
Wow, that is
Wow,
fantastic.
that's completely
But see,
different than.
that's where the secret sauce, guys, is cracking your niche. This doesn't apply for going to be for every kind of niche with these numbers. Obviously, I think the system works for a myriad of niches. But to really fine tune it is you want to crack a niche where you can get leads for $20 or less. Um, and mid to high ticket range, right? Because also they got to be making a certain amount of money to justify the cost and you to justify your time.
Do you know what that number is by any chance? Like, typically, what I'm seeing is people are typically going to be willing and able paying you and continue to pay you if you're making them about 30% of the profits that they generate from your efforts that they wouldn't do it themselves. That's kind of been my experience. Do you have a number by any chance of like, hey, they need to be making a certain amount of money or whatever to continue?
Yeah, great question. I have to do the math on that. I would say most of the guys, actually, that's about right. Like if they're making 6 grand, um, well, that'd be gross. I don't have to see gross. If they are clearing 5 grand, even profit, paying me $1,500 still to a lot of them is a no-brainer because most of them just don't have a way to get leads beyond that. And then what's cool about it too is like they get hooked. Man, like a lot of these guys, like they don't invest in any other kind of marketing. They've never had consistent lead flow. And so it's like a drug. It's like, hey, I need, they get hooked on it. But yeah, I would say it's probably like 33% or less of their profit they're willing to pay. Does that answer it? Does that make sense, guys?
Yep, yep. Um, guys, I know we're spending quite a bit of time on this one before moving on. Does anybody have anything else for Drew regarding?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
just a quick question. Because you was talking about you was doing the weekly check-ins to see like where their pain points are. You said you texted them. Are you texting them like through Slack, or are you just using your cell phone to text them?
Great question. So I do everything through high level. Like, at the scale that I'm at, it all needs to be in a cohesive CRM where all of their team members can have visibility in all of it. We've now deployed AI as a retention bot. So this is the other thing that's pretty cool. Is before our team was texting them weekly, checking in, they'd give me a recap. If there's anything that needed to be escalated to me and I had to step in and coach, I would. Again, getting at scale is just still becoming too much of a pain. So what I did was I downloaded like 30 or 50 of my closing calls that I won and my coaching calls. And I transcribed them, fed them into an AI bot, and trained a retention bot that now, after we close a guy, that bot monitors all those accounts. So when guys like literally yesterday was like, man, I'm having a hard time closing these guys. Do you have any tips? And boom, everything I would normally say that would take me 10 minutes to type out, just spit it out to me. He's like, thanks. And so that was really cool to see that start to come to fruition. And so, yeah, we do it texting through high level.
Okay. Thank you, Denver. That clears that
Even
up.
the hook calls are through Go High Level. Are you taking out like the reply to stop? Are you just taking all those out and then that
So
way?
my workaround on that is I don't think you can do that anymore. They're like, oh, your number needs, unless it's like been
Right,
grandfathered in.
right.
Now I don't think they let you do that, even though there's that check mark, they just won't let you turn it off. So what I do is my backdoor approach is I buy the number on Twilio, and then I go through high level and I say, hey, switch my account from the lead connector phone number thing to Twilio. And then I connect through webhooks that way and assign the number. It's very technical. I know what I'm saying, but what that allows me to do is Twilio then doesn't make you have to say, hey, text stop to unsubscribe or have all the provisos. It just looks like a normal guy texting. And I just do that over
Interesting.
and over and over, and I'll spin up like 10 of them, and you still got to pay the A2P verification, but it's very quick and easy to get. It connects into high level seamlessly on that, and it bypasses the the spamming restrictions that high level puts on you.
Interesting. What would I look up for that? Like, would I just look up connect Twilio to Go High Level?
I'll do
Um,
you one better, bro. It's called Disable LC Phone, and this is their web form that will send directly to their team, and you will just basically give them your Twilio dashboard API code and password,
mhm.
and they'll swap it over, and then it's very easy to do. If you just
Okay.
Google transition high level LC to Twilio phone, you'll find plenty of tutorials on it. It's a very common
Awesome.
thing to do.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, but that's the form. That was that allowed me to speed up my ability to transfer sub accounts over to that.
Sick. Okay, cool.
All right, what do we want to jump into next, guys?
Guys, anything else regarding this before we continue?
Really quick, Drew, you said that you don't run any contracts. Is that right? I mean, it makes sense to me. I feel like you have all the cards, you have all the leverage, but I just want to make sure I heard that right.
Yeah, bingo. And I'll even say this on sales calls from time to time if they ask about it. I'm like, no, man, like at the end of the day, if you're not making money, I mean, you shouldn't be working with me. Like just from an ethics standpoint, like it wouldn't make sense. That's why I do week to week, cancel any time. We're not dealing with enough money here that it would ever make sense for me to take you legally. And I'll say, like, if you just skip a payment and bail on me or ghost me, I'm taking my site and I'll go find your competitor and sell it for them cheaper. And I'll say it just like that. And they're like, yep, that makes sense. That's fair. I'm like, yeah. Now, coming from a company too that's done bigger ticket stuff, when you're getting over 5K, I would start going into contracts at that point, but not with this stuff. It slows down the process, in my opinion. There's other guys who will challenge me on that, but I don't.
I agree, 100%
I,
agree.
I 100% agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, what else?
Real quick, because I kind of had almost a traumatizing week where I was running ads in Miami, right? And so I was spending maybe like 50 to 100 bucks a day. He's waiting around. The leads aren't coming in during the time that he's there, so he's there like all day just waiting. It comes in maybe like in the evenings and in the mornings and stuff, and then like he's calling them relentlessly, doing multiple follow-ups, and I'm just having a hard time getting them on the phone. And I spent like a ton of money in this area. So I don't know, like just from what I said, is there anything that stuck out in terms of like maybe when the VA is working, how much like with the area that I was targeting, it's for house painting. So that's an aspect. My cost per lead for that week was pretty low. It was like maybe 12 to $15
Nice.
a lead. And so yeah, I don't know if there's anything that stuck out there where I was like, maybe I have to do a different location. Maybe I have to make him work mornings and evenings.
This is so just make sure I understand. So this is your VA calling the leads that came in, trying to get the leads on the phone so that they can do warm handoffs.
Correct.
Yeah. Um, So one of the things, I don't know how many of you guys have done this. I've been playing around with it, doing the SMS verification on the Facebook lead forms. Are you guys familiar with that?
I've seen that feature, but I haven't utilized it.
Yeah, so I've been getting into that more. So when I get the complaint, hey, none of these phone numbers call me back, or they're all broken numbers. When I call them, it's like doo 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 disconnected, right? I'll be like, oh, let me put on this verification thing, and so that's done now lead volume has gone down, but the quality's gone up because these are all real people. They verified their numbers. So I would consider trying that if they're
Okay.
disconnected calls. If the people still aren't answering, um, it's tough, man. Like the thing that I tell my team sometime is like for every 10 sites that we go after or locations, there's a good chance that three of them are just going to be bust, right?
Mm,
And I don't know why. Like it just could be the market, could be the clientele, it could just be the ad set and what it's, the type of quality
right.
that it's targeting. And so that like there's no like full science to it. There's all the different levers that you can play with that Koshik teaches you guys to mess with. But sometimes at the end of the day, because my modality is, dude, if I've run leads for 5 days and I'm getting that kind of thing, it's way faster and cheaper to just pivot and go somewhere else.
Yeah,
Right?
that's what I
Because
was gonna do.
yeah, especially
Cool,
if
cool.
you've cracked a creative, dude, if you're getting leads that are 10, $15 a pop, like and I will say I don't play in Miami. I've had bad
Okay.
luck in Miami. I'll play in surrounding areas around Miami, but Miami
Yeah.
sucked.
Yeah,
And
because I
I've
got
done
West Palm.
multiple niches.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got West Palm. I have a
Yeah,
client in West
West
Palm
Palm's
now
great.
because I got the
West Palm's
job.
great.
Yeah. So I'm
Hmm.
gonna do New Smyrna next and do
Okay.
those surrounding areas like Ormond Beach
Yep.
and test it
Run near
there.
Daytona.
So I mean it's good to know that maybe you don't even like Miami.
Yeah, I
So
haven't
that's
I haven't been able to make money in Miami.
okay. Oh, thank God. Okay. Cool. I mean
I get it.
yeah.
What else,
All right.
guys?
I know you guys I want to spend time if it seemed like the next most important one was scaling your team, working with the VAs, incentivizing them and setting that up. Is that what you guys want to jump into? Would that be a good use of the time?
Yeah, guys, I mean, I think we spent a lot of time on retention, a lot more than maybe we even needed to. Like the main thing I'm hearing, guys, is just like freaking volume, man. Just keep it pushing. If it's a bad person or whatever, just keep it pushing. It's just a numbers thing, and then sooner or later you'll have your reoccurring revenue when you have enough studs. Does that answer people's question regarding retention? Like we have this one question, which is like, hey, what do you say and do if somebody wants to cancel? Maybe it's not even the best use of Drew's time to go over that. And okay, cool.
Oh,
So
actually, let me give you one tip on that because yeah, I remember reading that in the document. So, here's what I typically will do. There's a few levers I'll pull because most of these guys don't. They want it to work. They do, right? Like if they text you and they want to cancel, the first thing you should be doing is calling them. Do not text them, right? This becomes a call like, hey, bro, what's going on, man? Like super non-defensive. Like, oh, what's happened? Right? Like assume like you can solve their problem and ask them. And they're gonna start to share. It's like, oh, no one was calling me back. Like this literally happened Friday night. Guy texts me, he's like, I want to cancel. Immediately call him. Hector, what's going on, man? It's like, it's just the leads aren't qualified enough for this kind of thing, or they're too small. And walk them through. I'm like, well, hey man, what if we did this? What if I went after X, Y, or Z here? And what if I threw on this number verification thing so we could see that? And why don't we get another week and see? I'd hate for like it might because I also say like with lead gen, you could have one bad week and you can't look at it just on a week view. You got to look at it in a month view, right? Like all these different lines to say, hey, let's see if we can make this work. Okay. And then he's like, thanks so much for the call. So I always get him on the call. But here's the other thing too, is like I just can't be afford paying you $1,600 a month for this thing. It's like, all right, well, here's the thing, man. Here's what I'm willing to do. Remember this line. This works all the time. You know, I'm more interested in finding the right partner than I am trying to get the most amount of money for my site. So if this has been working for you and you see the value and you like working with me because I like working with you, is I'm willing to like maybe for the next 3 months, what if I give it to you at $300 a week, right? But you can't tell other people that I went that low on my rate. Okay. And then let's assess where you're at. And if you're doing good and you're ramping up cash flow and you're filling the pipeline, we can bounce it back up. How's that sound? Okay, I'll do that. Right. And that I convert probably almost all my guys that way. I save every deal. And that may buy me a couple more months. They still might not be able to close, or it may just be enough of a deal where they're closing enough, right? Where they'll stay on. And then at that point, I typically won't ever call again to try to bump up the price. I'm fine with a 50% margin, right? If I'm spending $600 on ads. So I think that's a really good point. It was worth touching on that because I love that line and I love dropping the price to like my bare minimum of what I'm comfortable with to see if I can keep them.
cool. Um, Yeah, let's go ahead and thank you so much for that, Drew.
Yeah, you bet.
Let's go ahead and continue in terms of like what you feel like is most valuable. In terms of like the guys, I mean, they're all at a stage of they've been doing hooks and stuff like that. And now they're starting to bring on VAs and and so there's a lot to learn there. So
Cool.
kind of
Yeah.
that stage that you're at, whatever you feel like could be valuable to these guys.
Yeah. You gotta do everything that you want a VA to do first. You gotta just from a respect perspective, you gotta just have done it a couple times so that you can come on and train them. Okay. You don't have to be the best at it. Actually, hire better people who are. Hopefully you do. But I don't like people who try to shortcut the process and skip over it themselves. That's just my perspective. Can it be done? Sure. Um, but also in doing that, you're going to learn the nuances way better than anyone else, and then you can build your own SOPs that fit your style. Two, practically, where do I get my VAs? I get them out of the Philippines. I go through onlinejobs.ph. I do job postings there at $60 a month. You guys could even just pull your funds together. I'll go in on a Venmo share deal, right? And like get it for a month and I'll do different postings if you want it, right? You don't need a lifetime subscription kind of thing, right? Like just use it as needed. And then here's the secret, man. Like after you find a great one and you bring them on, most of those people are well connected with their friends from other crappy VA companies and jobs that have sucked, but they know who's good. And if you're offering value, great incentives, commission, great work-life balance, you go, Des, you got any referrals? Vanessa, who do you got that you've worked with at these other companies that would love to come? And I've built my whole team off of just referrals off of them by finding one great salesperson that's led to our whole sales team growing. Because one, what that's going to do is saves you money from having to actually do interviews. Two, if that's a good salesperson on your team who loves working for you, is invested in the culture and the vision of the company, it's not going to, they're not going to try to bring on riffraff that's going to ruin it for everybody else. They're going to bring on all-star talent that are, the thing I always say too is I don't care how well they can close first, are they a good fit for culture? Because if they ruin the freedoms that we have for everyone else, you're not going to want them to stick around, right? There's a reason, like I like how Hermosi says, if you find yourself having to create stupid rules because of one person, there's a good indication that person shouldn't be there, okay? Because they ruin culture. And so we were getting to a point where we were starting to have to check in for bathroom breaks because people weren't letting each other know where they were at. And if the sales manager needed, I'm like, we're not doing that. I go, if you need to make that rule for this one person, fire him. So she had to talk with him, and he's on like a PIP. But yeah, it's like that's a great example of it. So hire through online jobs.ph, train them yourself. You when you're training them, film it with Looms. Okay. So you then suddenly have this onboarding process that you can do and you don't have to repeat the process. They can start watching Looms, right? And then it becomes a standard thing that every time you bring someone in, hey, watch these videos, da 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 da. Then, and just real quick for my training process, it's typically I bring them on at part-time, 4 hours a day. The first day is they're watching videos on the model, understanding it. They're watching the looms that I did. And then they're meeting typically with Des now, who will take them through the technical side of high level, but that could also be a loom, okay, of how we manage the accounts. We do our prospecting, how we use Phantom Buster to scrape leads off of Google, get them into the CRM, text them, do our whole prospecting thing. Second day is role playing with our sales director, just going over hooking in the script. Give them the script, let them do it. If it wasn't me, if I was doing it myself, I would just start role playing. I would walk them through the psychology of the hooking script, right? It's more theory, okay? It's sales theory. And then finally on Wednesday, they just recover anything that they were fuzzy on, and then they schedule an hour with me, which I call the gauntlet, where I come in and I run them through it, where I pretend I'm the business owner and I just, you know, screw with them over and over. And that's really fun. And then typically once they pass that and they realize that I'm not looking for perfection, I'm just looking for them to just kind of know the script. We turn them loose and throw them into the deep end for Thursday and Friday and give them their first site. And normally the ones who make it hook their first business owner on Thursday or Friday. And that's a good indicator that they're going to be hungry and stick around. Normally, if they can't hook, we give them maybe 3 more days the next week. And if they can't, we fire them and then we move on to the next one. So it's very quick. Hire slow, fire fast. And then typically we need to see a closed deal within the first 2 weeks, right? Because once you hook them, hand off the leads, get them on a call with me. If they can't close in 2 weeks, we normally will then give them 1 more week two max. And again, even if they can hook, that's the thing. So like they have to hit certain milestones, right? And if I can't close any of their deals, there's an indication that either they're not learning how to hook and qualify a business owner well enough, or Drew sucked. And normally it is they didn't qualify correct. And then there can be coaching there. You give them a chance to course correct. But that is typically the runway guys on that. It shouldn't, this is not rocket science. If you're having them set, they don't need to be the smartest, you know, sharpest closer. They just need to be able to speak decent English and just be good with interperson stuff because we're not selling anything yet, right? Like if you guys have done the hooking, you realize how easy it is. Guys want to take free leads. If anything, you have to learn how to qualify and say no to certain people. All right. So any questions on that before I get into pay structure and incentives? Cool. All right. So two 250, so $500 a month for every 4 weeks. They're paid bi-weekly, 250 every 2 weeks. Okay, so $500 base for our sales guys and gals. Commission. All right, any deal that they hook that I close, they get 5% commission off of the gross the first month. Okay, so if I close, so that first month is always $1,000, right? Assuming they stay. So they're paid out after the month. Okay, I don't pay ahead. I pay if they're retained for that first month. If they pay 4 times $1,000, they're going to get $50. Okay. If they have the balls and they want to go close themselves, I will pay them 10% commission. Nobody ever wants to do that, unfortunately, as much as I try to get them to. Second month, because I don't have time to coach these guys and do all the customer success. And could I hire someone to do customer success management and manage these accounts? Yeah, that might be a thing in the future. But right now, it was just easier to say, hey, you want to make more money. What you're going to do is that you need to be responsible. You need to do weekly check-ins with them. And then anything that's a pain point, you need to either solve or escalate to me. Okay. Or Des. Now it's Des. She's the first line of defense. Desiree is my sales director, just when I reference her. And so if that client who I convert to month 2 at let's say $1,500 or $375 a week, if they stay for month 2, they get 5% commission off of the gross of that. Okay, so that ends up being typically, it'll be $75 for that month. So they can make $125 just off of that one guy as a bonus. Okay, so imagine if they're closing 5 deals a month and they're getting a $500 base, and then those 5 deals are paying out, $700 in commission. Right there, they're at $1,200 for a month of work. Then on top of that, we have a team bonus, where if the team collectively hits 11 closed, right now it's because we have 5 salespeople, if they hit 11 closed deals, actually, what is it? It goes 11, 9, 7. If they close 7 deals, if we as a team close 7 deals, they all bonus $100. If we close 9 deals collectively as a team, they get a $150 bonus each. And then if we close 11 deals or more, they double bonus, 200. So last month we double bonus. So everybody got a $200 bonus plus their $500 base. And to give perspective, $700 to $800 is upper middle class in the Philippines. So a lot of these moms, so like single moms that we have on our sales team who are working night shift, it's totally changed their family, which is really cool to be a part of too, and the culture to see that and see lives changed. Because they're some of them are making more money than their husbands and just balling, right? So it's really cool to see that. But that's how we have it structured at the moment. I don't have them clock in or clock out, or track time. I do have them send a Slack message in the morning and a Slack message when they're done. They give a recap to their sales manager, who then sends me a recap of everybody else. And that's what we do for accountability. And now, as we've scaled, before I was just one-on-one with the sales team, right? They would report to me on Slack. They would give me an update at the end of their day where things were. If there were issues with the pipeline, we would troubleshoot and figure out what was going on, and it was coaching. That was taking too much time. We promoted from within. So Des, my first hire, who I hired back in July, I promoted to sales manager. Now her job is to get performance out of all of these guys and make sure they hit their numbers. If they're not hitting their numbers, put them on a PIP, which is a progress improvement plan. Basically, it's a warning to say, hey, let's figure out where the issues are. Let's hit them and course correct. If you can't, it's just a notice that we're probably going to let you go, right? And just standard HR procedure there. And so she drives performance. And again, it's just been stepping back more and more from the business so that I'm only having to do sales calls, which could be, anywhere from 2 to 4 hours a week. Um, and then the rest is I know you guys are asking about like what's my hour, like my week look like. So we do an all staff on Monday, every Monday at 9 a.m. Just a half an hour meeting to get the troops all pepped and ready to rock and roll. Then there's a sales meeting with the sales director where just the sales team meet for 9:30 to 10 in their own language and just review pipeline, everything like that. That's where Des just figures out all those pain points. I don't do that anymore. I'm more kind of just macro now. And then they reach out to Des if to get new sites, assignments, locations, and they all have their own pipelines and high level. They all have their own metrics. We're very transparent with the score. We have a score thing so that everybody can see where everyone is, so that there's incentive for personal contribution, team contribution, and I don't want to say it's not public shaming, but like as you'll find with salespeople, like they're motivated by money. Most of them are. And so when you put the scoreboard up there, there's ego involved, even amongst the women, which don't tend to have as big of egos as guys. And it's worked well because then we also have the commission sheets available where everybody can see everybody's commission. So when you look at Danessa, who's our top earner, and she's got 5, 6, 7 deals, and she's just raking, you can see what she's making and be like, well, if she can do it, I can do it. And then it's like, and we foster collaboration. So that's why we have the team thing. But like reach out, do a one-on-one with Danessa. What's she doing that you're not? Why is she closing more than you? Right. And so it's created a really cool, healthy sales culture. And then yeah, I'll stop there. Any questions?
In terms of the time, I was trying to make some notes. So you have an all-staff meeting on Monday at 9, and then you said something, a sales meeting with
So the sales meeting I'm not in. That is in their own language, run by Des, the sales manager, to go through it. Now, if I didn't have her, my 9 to 9:30 would be that. I essentially would spend the whole time. Let's review pipelines. How many sales calls can you guys get me on this week? If not, if it's not a big number, why is that? Oh, we're in the hooking phase. Like you'll notice cycles, okay, sales cycles where the first week of the month is hooking, second week are sales calls, third week is hooking, fourth week is calls. And now the fourth week is always super busy because they're trying to hit the quotas before the end of the month.
Gotcha. And that's so that's once a week, that meeting? Or is that
Every week? Yeah,
okay.
Once a week.
Okay, and then so all staff, and then there's that, and then is there any other like team meeting, or is there anything else?
No other team meetings. I will periodically check in with Des on a one-on-one. I may do that bi-weekly just to cover how's she doing in her new position, what pain points is she doing, and then also course correct. One thing I have found, and it may just be my leadership style coming from like the Austin Tech lifestyle vibe where it's pretty chill, it's macro managey, it's a work lifestyle balance, and that's also my personality. Excuse me. Um, I noticed in the Philippines, the culture is way more like brutal, and a lot of these women are coming from like these slave driving like call centers, which sound absolutely miserable with quotas and all this stuff. And I'll see her start to navigate, like move in that way. I'm like, and that's when we'll jump on calls and we'll just course correct. I'm like, hey, like, why do you feel, we need to do this or that? Why you're doing that? And just coaching her to be like, hey, let's give people the benefit of the doubt first before we start doing really strict. Let's see if we can course correct. And I'll remind her, I'm like, do you know why you like working with me and why you referred your friends here? Is because it's fun and we don't micromanage people and we want people to be able to attend to their families when they have emergencies. Like if they have to miss a day because they need family time, we're not going to dock their pay, right? Like it's just kind of like moderating the culture over there, which is, and it's interesting because you'll see them if somebody slacks off in some way, like I'll catch it on some messages or they'll say it. It'll be like, people don't realize how nice Drew is. Don't stop it. Like Drew's too nice. Like, and it is. It's a different kind of mentality and trying to protect culture. And I always say culture over capital is so important. Where it doesn't. I don't care if they've hooked more deals and closed more deals. Like if they're bad for culture and we're having to set stupid rules, like you got to check in when you go to the bathroom. No,
Right.
I'd rather fire you. Yeah.
Can you and I know we're cutting it close. Can you quickly break
You're
down
good,
your
guys. I got another 20 minutes.
okay.
We're good.
can you quickly break down your hours? So that's been really helpful doing the team meeting and understanding like Des rules. But can you break down like, hey, about this many hours I'm putting in sales call, this many hours I'm doing this. This way the guys have an idea of like, okay, well, here's what the time management looks like having a 6-person team.
Yeah. Let me do it in two phases. Let me talk about what it was like before I had a team so that you
Yeah.
guys can know as you're building and grinding. As I said, I could only really work successfully, like without losing my mind and getting really sloppy, 2 sites at a time. There is no reason why you guys can't have short sales cycles if you're doing it yourself, um, getting on 2 sales calls a week. Hook on Monday, run your creative that you've proven, like you need a proven creative where you've cracked it, where you can spend $100 and at least have 5 leads, right? Or at least 4 leads, hand them off. Um, let them do the estimates and push for the closing call Friday. If not, then just work those two and then move on to the next one. Always have a backfill ready to go. Okay. So I would wake up in the morning on Monday. My quick process that I wanted everything to be efficient. I would scrape Google. I would put it in my CRM and I text 10 business owners. Whoever responded, I'd call them on the phone and do the hook. Okay. As soon as I had them hooked, turn on ads. I don't turn ads on until I have a business owner hooked because I didn't like the pressure that I would face that if I have leads in hand, I didn't want them to go cold if I couldn't hook somebody. Okay, so I always turn them on after I hook, um, do the handoffs, push for the closing call, and then I fulfillment at night, pour myself a bourbon after my son went down and put on some music, and that was just chill, right? Like then doing the set it up, it's all automated, becomes very, very easy. And that would take maybe 20, 30 minutes per person to get set up correctly and have all the automation set, right? Um, and then I would just do that every day. It'd be finding the time, and it wasn't like I was working 8-hour days, guys. The other thing too is when you're doing that, like you're waiting on the leads to come in, you're texting the lead or calling them, waiting for them to get back, texting your business owner. So it's like 10 minutes here, a minute here, 20 minutes later, a minute here, 20 minutes later, right? And that's what I was just doing full time. So it felt like a full-time job because the setting and the handoffs are the hardest part. It's the biggest bottleneck. And that's where when you hire a VA, have them do that because it's at night that over there, they're sitting at their computer and it's just they can be watching Netflix, which is fine, waiting for people to come in. But it takes you out of that game so you can just focus on other things, building the business, right? Hiring people, scaling the team. Um, when I started getting my own setters, I stepped out of the setting game completely and I moved into coaching. And it was all mentoring, it was reviewing calls, it was coaching, it was managing the pipeline, and teaching and making them more effective, and then jumping on sales calls. Okay. And then once um, I was able to successfully manage 3 people. I felt pretty at 3 sales girls pretty comfortably, and that rhythm worked well. Once we got to 4 and 5 sales people, it was too many people, too many issues that would arise, too many use cases, too many questions about, and I was just getting pinged every day, and it was pulling me back into a full-time job, and I didn't want that. Okay. So at that point, I had already qualified Des knowing that her ambition was to be a boss, right? Wanted to be an entrepreneur. I had identified her early on as, oh, this is talent I want to develop and let her cut her teeth, let her earn her stripes, let her earn respect. And now, boom, pitched her on it, and she was super pumped. So I moved her in. So now my job now is I'm coaching her, and now she's managing the other salespeople. So when they have issues, interpersonal relationship issues, family issues, BO issues, they go to her first. Now, I've told her optically, I think she needs to be winning a deal here and there just to contribute to the team because they are incentivized. But I've also said privately to her, I'm like, if you drive the performance and they're hitting their numbers, I don't care if you close or not. That's fine. Um, that's between you and I. But I think optically, you need to be doing what you can, even if it's just working a deal here or there casually when you have downtime. The other thing that I is a bottleneck that you will encounter when you scale to, and this was a great question. Some of these questions are really thoughtful, guys, that where it's like, oh man, I need to be thinking about that. Here it was, scaling and optimization questions. What were the pain bottlenecks that I hit? And this is kind of what I'm touching on. The 10 to 15K was the setting, just the time it takes to play phone tag with these guys. And I know it like if you're doing it, it sucks unless you're weird. It is not fun to play phone tag and be like, why can't I just do a cold handoff and let the business owner? I'm telling you, your close rate will go up astronomically with warm handoffs because it's not about the fact that you're just handing off the warm lead. You are building a rapport. Even if it's not with you, it's with your setter and the culture of your company. Your close rate will go. That's why I know I'm over 50% close rate. It's not because I'm a great closer. It's all these other things that overcame the trust objection, right, leading up to that. So that's the biggest bottleneck in the first 10 to 20K. The 15 to 30 bottleneck is going to be what I just talked on there. It's going to be scaling your sales team, building your system, your automations, and establishing culture and rhythm. Okay. And a lot of that, I just gave you a little bit of the shortcut because I had to figure out the numbers, like what makes sense. Okay, well, they gotta hook 5 business owners for me to at least close 2, right? Like just those numbers need to be played out over a month to kind of figure out. And then when you get even bigger, it's going to be people managing the sales team, which I covered with Des, but then collections, which right now is the thing that I hate. And now I'm going to be, I just had right before I got on a call with you guys, I was talking to Des. I'm like, hey, I want you to start taking over accounts receivable. And what that is that's most of my time, guys, now is spent, I probably spend 4 to 5 hours a week. Hey, bro, saw that your credit card was declined. Can we get that fixed? Hey man, what's going on? I haven't been paid yet. It's been 2 days. I need paid or else I got to turn off the leads. I'm super friendly about it, right? And most of the time it's a cash flow issue on their side. They're not trying to be dicks or take advantage of it. It's just the way the business works. And so it's walking that fine line. So now here's my thought. Obviously I'm implementing this now is like, I don't want to be the bad guy to these guys because I was the guy that won them over, right? Like, I want to be a safe escalation path for them to keep and retain them. And then also my other sales reps who are also customer success specialists, right? If they're going to retain them through month 2 and earn a commission, they got to be doing work. Is that I don't want them to be a bad guy either. So I've asked Des, she's going to be the bad guy, which is going to be the collections and take that off my plate, which is going to be friendly but staying on people. And then if someone doesn't pay, it's like, oh, you got to turn the leads off. And so that's the bottleneck that you start getting into when you get higher up. I will say, they say the line, don't hate your money, like where it comes from and all that kind of stuff. But honestly, at scale, you start to hate guys who don't want to put a card on file. And so we're going to be rolling out most likely a thing. I'm fine with the first payment being like, hey, I don't know who you are. I need to build trust. I want to cash app you. Okay, bro, I get it. But after a first week, if I've delivered on the leads and they've made some money at that point, I'm like, all right, man, I do require a card or something because it's just I can't be chasing you down. And most guys are understandable at that point because they don't want to lose the site. So that is something that you have to be ready to process when you're ready to go.
That was fantastic. So the bottleneck for the first 15K is again setting and just juggling all these different people. Phase 2, getting from 15 to 30K is now I got some people, so I can just like take the sales calls, kind of coach those people. Phase 3, which is where you're at right now, is now it's like, hey, I gotta bring a manager on that can do all that stuff, and then also just, hey man, we gotta be better about collecting cash. I would assume some retention, all that stuff comes in here as well. Fantastic, good stuff, good stuff. What else? I mean, I can just shut up. Guys, do you guys have questions pertaining to the stuff that Drew just went over in terms of teams, hiring, compensation, all that?
I have a question. So all that was amazing. Thank you for sharing all that. For you said you do 250 bi-weekly, right? And is it pretty much like their own schedule? Like, hey, you just need a hook, like say a certain amount of people on Mondays, and then when I launch the ads, you're not working a set time. Because I've been like having like set times where it's like, hey, just wait for the leads during this time. But it sounds like, hey, because you're getting commission on the back end, the 5%, you're pretty much just working at any point, and then it's up to you how hard you want to go. Is that kind of what you're doing,
Yeah,
or?
bingo. Yeah. Like I don't do set times other than like, hey, you're gonna work 40 hours a week. I don't care how you spread it out. And like, here's the thing, I'm not even gonna count your hours because if you find the right person, it doesn't matter about the hours. I don't care if you work 2 hours a day and you close four deals for me a month, that's a win. If you close two
Right.
deals, if you close 2 deals, which is our minimum, and you only work 1 hour a day, I'm not gonna hate you on it. It's still like massive margin for me. Now, that's kind of lazy. I know you could, so that's where the incentive comes in with the commission, right? Where it's like, if you just want to work 1 hour a day and you're that good, what if you did 4 hours a day? What if you did 8 hours a day? Right. And that's why the uncapped commission is super important. And that's why when you're interviewing, I always ask, what motivates you? And I love people who are like, I want better for my family. I want to provide for my family. Those are the people that I know are going to be hungry and are going to bust it.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, that's very helpful. And you said the commission starts once they start the second month, or they even if the person pays the 250 a week, they're still getting 5% of that. You're just trying to incentivize. You're just trying to
Correct. So like, yeah, if they hook somebody, let's say I close somebody today and they pay me 250 and then they cancel next week, I'll still commission 5% off the 250. Whatever
Okay,
cash in, I'm going to pay out my team. It's not their fault if I close them and he cancels at some point, right? The deal was hook somebody and let me close them.
okay. Is it pretty easy tracking all that? Like, are you tracking like every week, end of the week, you're just looking at your numbers and you're like, okay, this was this guy's, this one,
Yeah,
there was this guy's.
so I have an automation that runs off of our pipeline. When you change somebody to close one based on like the number, it then goes to a Google sheet under that sales rep. And then there's just
Okay,
formulas on that where it calculates, hey, this was the deal, this is how much they paid, 5% calculated. And then I just have a color coded system where they have view permissions but can't edit. And I'll go in and I'll like turn it to green when I paid it and turn it to
right,
orange when
right.
it's to be paid. It's my own
Okay.
method. It's
Yeah, yeah,
me.
yeah. Okay, that's very helpful. Thank you.
All right, guys, I got
Guys,
7 minutes.
guys, what else? What else you got for Drew regarding hiring, training, firing, incentivizing?
I feel like it's probably so many, but I think like right now my situation, I'm like probably overpaying because I'm
Oh,
paying like
I was sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
oh no, 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 you're fine. I just thought you had a 15, so I wanted to let you.
Oh yeah,
Um,
well, yeah, I was going to just touch on the partner aspect of
Yeah,
because I saw
let's
a question
talk
oh
about that.
about
yeah,
the
yeah.
of that,
So
like compensating and what made. I guess I understand the logic behind it. I completely understand the motive now. At this point, it's like it's a bottleneck, and you have to fix for it.
Y- Yeah, so let me clarify partner because it's not I didn't give equity or profit share of my business over. So what I did was I would find hustlers who were hungry like you guys. And what I would do is I'd let them bolt into my system, right? They would bring their own ad spend, they would have to close, and then they would pay me a profit share off of anything that they close. And then they could tie into my setters, they could tie into my high level automations, my Airtable automations, and my AI automations. Okay. So basically, it was like, hey, you give me a profit share, and I'll give you kind of my whole tech stack is what it was. And so this one woman was super hungry, great closer, been in the sales game for a very long time, was a bookie in Vegas, like knew her numbers, knew how to talk to blue collar guys, and but didn't know the tech stuff. So we just worked out a deal. And so that's some transparency into that. I've had a couple partners like that. Um, I where I would they would cover the ads. This is back before I was still figuring things out, where I didn't have a ton of ad spend to be able to just experiment. So it was I was incentivized to use their ad dollars and go close the deals for them because closing wasn't the issue. It was just figuring out the creative at first, how to crack a niche, but do the ads. So I don't do those kind of partnerships anymore. Um, I had transitioned to this, and then also I'm selective on that now that we've scaled to a place where I'm not looking to be a sales coach to anybody. Like, I like the idea of a profit share if you can close, but everything else I can do with my team now. So that's some visibility into the partnership aspect. So wanted
So
to
right now,
clarify.
so if I'm understanding, is it that it's you, Des, and then the setters? Is that what it is right now, or do you have somebody else that's plugged in right now, or you're saying you got rid of that
Yeah,
stuff?
so it's me, Des, and the setters, and then there's Steph, who is a partner, who basically is in our Slack channels, is in high level, has access to the team, has a resource in the team if she needs it, and but she has her own setter, right? So basically, I've just been coaching her on how I've done what I've done and letting her bolt into this stuff, and then she's paying me a profit share of every deal that's retained. So as she
Interesting.
collects her monthly stuff, I get a cut of her business.
What I guess like what made you decide to do that? Like, are you making about the same amount of profit, or are you that I guess that's my question. Another question might be like, are you worried about eating into the market share? Yeah, those are a few of the questions I would say.
It was just, I think, out of compassion. I just saw someone who was really hungry who wanted to change their life and get free. And I think because she just was so persistent, I was just drawn to it. And at the time, I think I had a little bit more bandwidth and it just kind of evolved. I'm not like actively seeking that stuff in that kind of capacity. But I was like, all right, I already have the system. So I was able to delegate it out to my sales team. Like be like, Des, train her, coach her, set her up. Dante. Oh, that was the other thing we didn't talk about. I'll do like we'll talk about Dante, the SEO fulfillment guy, right? Which is another aspect of it I skipped over. Um, so that was kind of answer. It was an edge case.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily a massive a profit play.
Yeah, I guess like really quick before you do move on for the guys that are interested, I think that makes a ton of sense. Like you built out this thing and it's almost like your franchise. Like, hey, I already built it out. Like just give me a little bit of a cut for that's kind of what I'm hearing. Um, what do you for the guys that would be interested in that,
Freedom.
like what do you feel like would be a good profit share? 10%, 5%, 30%? Like what would for the guys that are in here, what would you encourage them to like look at? Like, hey, stay within this range, don't go out of this range.
Yeah, a couple thoughts on that. Great question. The sales is the skill set. Everything else can be commoditized. Don't let anyone tell you different. Like I know I've said people all the time know how to like run ads and build sites and do AI stuff. Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you just got to be able to close. So that is the most important skill. Okay, so I think that should be weighted the most. When it comes to that, because for example, staff as a closer, and I'm bringing the tech side, I think we have like I have to look, guys. But I think it's like a 25 or 30% profit, but she keeps 70 or 80 and I get the rest. And it's negligible what the work I have to do, right? I have the system already built. She bolts into it. It's already a soft cost with my staff. They try to help her out.
Okay. Thank you. That answers my question. Go ahead in terms of where you were going with your ad guy.
Yeah. So 2-minute warning real quick. Anything pressing that's come up?
Actually, yeah. In that case, then let's maybe pause on that. Does anybody have a question that is like super important to them? They feel like okay. Well, in that case, I guess go ahead and Drew, you kind of take the reins in terms of what you feel like is important with.
Yeah, the last thing that's really helped me is having a tech guy. All right. So I have Dante who builds out my SEO sites, builds my hooking packages. So spins up the Facebook pages, the Instagram pages, the one page landers, connects it all, spins up the automation, uses UpHex with my cracked creative to deploy very quickly on Meta, right? And then goes into Asana and says, "Hey guys, I built this for you. Ads are turned off when you're ready to go hook, and once you have hooked a business owner, turn them out." Right? We have this whole system, so that's what he's doing on the back end. When a business owner closes, he's going in, he's changing the custom fields or custom values in high level, putting them there so the AI can take over. Right? Everything gets repointed now from our team, who is getting the leads from the hooking side, now to the fulfillment side, which is very quick and easy. It's just a couple of automations with custom values and boom, suddenly they're in our system and all these are now going to them. AI is engaged. Everything's really streamlined. He's doing all that tech stuff so that literally I just have to get on a 20-minute sales call, close them, run their number through Stripe, send the information to Dante, and boom, everything else is taken care of. And so he's incentivized in the same way. He's not paid on commission, but he gets team bonus. Because if I need him to do something on a weekend, if something went wrong with the site, if a salesperson is hooking somebody because that was the only time they could do a handoff on the weekend because they're incentivized on commission, I need Dante as incentivized to show up for the team and put in extra hours. And so if the team hits their team bonus, he bonuses on that. And that's his incentive to put in extra hours on the weekends and the evenings.
Great. Drew, I will message you regarding some of the stuff that we were talking about, getting connected
Cool.
with some of the stuff that we were talking about. Thank you so much for all your time and energy and thoughtful. And like this has just been fantastic. Every single time we have you on, it's a freaking treat. So thank you so much.
Cool.
Anything else, anything we can do for you in the meantime, or do you have questions? Is there anything we can do for you before we let you go, Drew?
Oh, no, you guys are awesome. I always enjoy still being in the Slack channel, and even though I don't comment a whole lot, I'll definitely keep tabs on it. So I've always appreciated that and stuff. And then yeah, feel free to hit the guys up with what we talked about, Koshik, and see if there's some collaboration opportunity.
Yeah, I think there will be for sure after for sure. Cool, Drew. Well, thank you so much. I hope you enjoy your game. Hope you have a great rest of your evening, man. And we'll
Cool.
chat.
Thanks, fellas. Later on.
Man, that was great. That was fantastic.
Crazy.
I feel like
Yeah.
you guys ever when we were younger we went on like these we're in school like those what's the word I'm looking for? I'm having like a brain for right now. The fun days where you would go on like a thing outside of class.
Field
Uh,
trip.
Field trip, dude. Field trip.
Field trip. Yeah, I feel like we just had like a field trip.
Yeah.
That was so
Yeah.
fun.
That was amazing.
Such a fucking nerd. Like this is the kind of shit that gets me off.
Yeah.
Like all that just like that was so good. There's so much value in what he shared. I hope you guys are pumped. I hope you guys got a lot from that as well. Yeah, I don't know, like just verbal diarrhea, brain dump. I mean, a lot of what we got from there just really emphasizes some of the things that we've been on, which is really, again, niching down like if he didn't have like the exact ads, the exact everything, nothing else works, right? Like nothing else works. You can't have multiple clients and multiple different like that's like the foundation. Having a good product, and this is something that me and Aman have been talking about. I shared this with Mason recently. It's like a YouTube video about a guy who lost this $2.1 million agency. I'll maybe share with you, Aiden. I think it's pertinent to you as well. But it's like the key thing so it's from Matt Shields. Aiden, you know Matt Shields?
Sounds super familiar. I probably know his face.
He took Joel Kaplan's program and he's been big on YouTube. And basically, they had an agency they bought out for 15 grand. That guy already kind of sort of figured out service delivery. They scaled to like 500K per month, and then everything just crashed and burned because their product just wasn't good enough. Because they would have some clients that did well, didn't do well. They try to exit the business, but the deal fell through. And then before you know it, they had a bunch of like just trouble. I'm like speed running this whole story. I'll just like send you a YouTube video. But Aman and Mason are familiar with it. But basically, it goes back to like you have to have a really good product. So it's like you got to have a niche down and you got to have a really solid product. After you do that, it's like so much of this, and from what I've seen in my business and what I've seen around me is like it's really just spend more money on ads and like hire people. And like that's all it is. Like just it's like you just hiring people and knowing how to lead people. And then from there, from what I'm seeing with Drew, is like he's at that level where it's like in an online business, he's kind of at the 8 figure level actually. And what I mean by that is like 7 figures for me, like when I see what I'm talking about is this. If you run paid ads and you're closing $5,000, $10,000 deals, like doing what Drew did is like 7 figures. 8 figures is when you have a person managing those people. So it's kind of like he's at that level. Like he's got this lady that's like managing these other people. And that's like all it is. Like you just spend more money on ads, you get some people, and then you have like a leader that's managing those people. It's just a people game. That's all it is, just a people game and incentivizing the right people to do the right things. But it all starts with a really good product, really good systems, really good operations. Another big thing I'm taking away is like I feel like, I mean, now I'm a little bit vindicted, or like I feel like we were going a little bit harder than we needed to go in terms of onboarding, in terms of communication. Like we were just, my usual thing is like, I'm really good about communication. I do that with you guys. Everybody has like a crazy onboarding, all that stuff. So I just believe in that. But like, after hearing what I heard from him, is like, it's just high volume. It's like, screw it. Just high volume and you're going to get your studs. Aman, kind of like what we talked about with your med spa, bro. Like it's the same story. It's like you did your med spas for a year and a half, and now we have these clients that are just like sticking with us. Don't Not a lot of effort. It's like this seems to be the game. As Drew was talking about that one common play you guys may or may not know of when it comes to e-commerce businesses is this like there's this company called ButcherBox. Have you guys heard of them? So the play for big companies, in case you guys maybe don't know, is like they spend a shit ton of money on ads to acquire customers. And then what happens is after a few years, because they have enough people on reoccurring revenue, they turn the ads off. That's literally the play. So you spend a shit ton of money on ads, you get all these people, and then you finally have your few studs that keep spending money with you, and then you can turn your ads off, and now everything's pure profit. That's what I'm seeing. Again, Aman, that was the case with you. That's the case I'm seeing over and over. It's just high fucking volume, guys, and then your studs will come in. Your studs will come from the woodwork. So it's kind of like, I mean, you create a product as good as you can, but like there's a balance between like I spend a lot of time being nitpicky with who I bring into my world, and I spend a lot of time with them. To me, it sounds like he doesn't do that. He does like the exact opposite. Like just bring a shit ton of people in, and then the few that will stick, they'll stick through. And you pour your time and energy into your team. That's another big thing I kind of got from him. Yeah. I don't know. I'm like verbal diarrheaing. I don't know why. I'm just like geeked out. I'm just like that was super cool for me. But I guess I'll kind of let you guys talk. I guess Aman, Righteous, Aiden, if you guys want to like just like verbal diarrhea, like I guess what are your thoughts, Aman?
Yeah, I mean, it's just it was mind blowing to me, like his KPIs, especially like on ad spend and stuff. And again, I happened to test the one place that he said he didn't have, good, results in. So like, it's probably a fluke there. But I mean, just how like what do you say? It was $60 or something
I think
for
I
a
think
cost.
$60 would be like $20 per lead.
Yeah.
I think that maybe he may have given maybe his definition wasn't what we were looking for, but because it's like $20 per lead, and then three people need to give estimates or whatever. So it's like bare minimum would be $60. I think what he meant was like his cost per acquisition, the number that we're looking for is probably around like $120.
Okay, right, right. But the
But
qualified leads were like $60 probably. But still, like it was still very low compared to
yeah, 120
um
bucks, $150. So
yeah.
what I'm kind of hearing from you guys is like your costs are a little bit, so it has to be, so the numbers have to number. So if Righteous and Aman, if you guys are spending more money than $20 per like lead, like right, like Aiden, for example, your numbers have to number, which means that you can't be charging 250 a week. It means you need to be charging $500 a week, bare minimum.
Right, right.
Like your numbers have to number.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean I was able to like get some new or not new leads, but like I don't know, just by putting like three ads under the same ad set, I feel like I was starting to get like $20 a lead there or like less. So yeah, I guess we'll see with the new location. It's definitely also great to hear that I could just do like a 5%. Like I'm paying like double what he's paying for his VA. So like I feel like I need to have a conversation
Yeah.
and to structure and just say like, hey, like, Alex Ramosi has a video where he can explain, but I think I will have to get him on like a 250 biweekly and 5%.
when you're when you're getting ready to have that conversation, I guess I can see the conversation side of your Slack, but just I guess reach out to me and we'll kind of maybe we don't want to.
Yeah, 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 I agree. I'll probably do like a meet with him so we can just kind of figure out like that verbiage and I do think it's gonna be important to do because just long term. And I was the one question I missed with Drew was like, what is he paying Des? Because then I can kind of use as like a future of like, hey, this is what you can be making.
Oh, what is he paying Des right now? Yeah, good
Yeah,
question.
like that's where I want to work you towards. But I can still go off the commission numbers that he said. So he
I
mentioned some
think
numbers there.
everybody here, go to the Google Doc, and I'm on what you're doing a fantastic job of like taking notes as you're talking. I was doing my best as well. Just go in there and any additional questions you have, just like put them below, like highlight them in like a different color, like blue. And I'll just ask those to Drew. So that's a good question of
Okay.
like compensation for Des now that she's kind of more of a manager role. Good stuff. Um, what else is top of mind? What else is the other thing I thought was interesting is like, it really, I mean, it is the sales process that we had. Like he didn't like he whatever we went over, like
Yeah.
well, he's doing the same
It's
shit. He's not,
crazy. And
it's not,
it sounds like he's using just one Go High Level account for trials, for their leads. Like that must be insanely like just all over the place for this Go High Level. Like I wonder, I don't know. That's crazy. I'm surprised he's not building out like a sub account for each client and anything like that.
I think, and so this is one of the things I told you guys back when we first started. I was like, I want to keep it bare minimum. I don't want to do too much because like
Yeah.
part of the problem is if you try to do too much, you can't do the volume. And again, he said two clients per week per person. So you can't do too much. Um,
Yeah.
the only way you could do too much is if you guys got really good at the upsells within the 4 week mark. Then it makes sense.
Yeah, but this is definitely like he just like he said it takes him like 20 minutes to get them set up and then they're good. So
I definitely think we can still do painfuls and all that stuff. I think there's a fine line between what he's doing versus like what we're planning on doing. I think if we just do a little bit more than what he's doing, I think there's room for painfuls. But maybe
yeah,
not with sub accounts and all that stuff, maybe not.
it's surprising he's doing still weekly for his like long-term clients as well. And it doesn't sound like he's doing like a recurring payment. It sounds like he's like they're having to pay every week, which I'm surprised. Like, I don't, I've never found it difficult to like to say, hey, it's just gonna charge you automatically. Just message me if you know need to pause at any point. So I'm actually really surprised by that.
Yeah. Um, yeah. There was something. So Oman, I guess like he doesn't. I don't know because your process of like connecting to the ad account, all that stuff, like that, all that logically made sense. But it seems like he's still not doing any of that stuff
Yeah,
either.
but he at least has a number. He says 600 is what he spends. So at
Yeah.
least I know that and I
Yeah.
can just kind of work everything around that. So even though I did it for this client where I'm going to be getting access for future ones, I'm probably just going to try to do it all under my ad account and then just say, hey, this $600. And then if they're getting their leads, they're hitting over, I'll just bring it down if needed, you know?
So righteous, Aiden, hope you guys got that. Like I know that's been kind of a thing of like, hey, when a client does pay us, I don't know if I'm spending overspending, underspending, 600 is your limit. And so it
Yeah.
seems like he takes that in. That's his hard cost. He knows his margins. Like that's what he's willing to spend. So that's something to keep in mind. Um,
With
yeah,
cabinets, we're thinking that like we're gonna try out lead forms, which we haven't been doing, and see if we can't bring it down to closer to $20 a lead because it depending on where you're at, it is like 25 to maybe $40 a lead. So, I mean, sounds like we could stay at 500 a week, which the our guys don't gawk at all. Um, and
really,
so,
really quick before you continue, I didn't mean to cut you off, but like one thing that was super crucial that I think was part of his retention is he tells his guys it's $250 a week, and then if you don't, I'll give you a refund. But he says it in terms of the month. Does that make sense? That's something I don't know if you guys caught that. He's like, hey,
yeah.
it's $200 a week, and then if you don't, whatever, I'll refund you at the end of the month. If
Mhm.
within 4 weeks. So that's how he's kind of convincing them to do the four. So instead of like getting them to pay a lot, which is what our theory was, like collecting paid in fulls or getting them paying full more, he's like, hey, this is my process. I'll give you a refund. You just gotta stick with me for 4 weeks. So you guys might want to make a note of that. It's your words to convince them of that. Okay. On your hook calls, on handoff calls.
And
Get them
that
to
way,
understand.
you're not giving them an off ramp where it's like, hey, you can stop at any of these 4 weeks. It's like the off ramp is at 4 weeks, which at the end of 4 weeks, they should have gotten something, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like he kind of does two different things. It's like, hey, look, it's 250 a week, cancel whenever you want. So that's kind of like a thing to make us off. But it's also like, hey, look, at the 4 week, we'll work together. We'll do this for 4 weeks, and if for some reason, whatever, I'll give you a full refund. So it's like they can off ramp whenever they want, but if they want a refund, they have to stay the first 4 weeks for a full 4 weeks. So you guys might want to make a note of that. Super important distinction, I think. But even then, I mean, again, he's still churning 50% of people, right? He's still churning 50% of people, even with all that. So, but yeah, I'm sorry, Aiden, go ahead in terms of what you were saying.
No, I think that was it. I just think we're going to lower our cost per lead. We're going to try to lower our cost per lead, which we're doing with the conversion rate testing. I don't know if you guys watched any of that.
I did.
And then we're going to try potentially doing lead forms like you guys are doing as well, because we haven't been doing that. I've been so against lead forms, but like obviously it's working for you guys, it's working for Drew. So
It's what you gotta, whatever you find, you gotta stick to it. So it's like part of me thinks like you already have it figured out. Like you got a client that's making 6 figures a month. I mean, you know what I mean? So it's like if the costs are more expensive, then the costs are more expensive. You just have to be better at sales and you have to just make the numbers number. That's
yeah.
what it's like. Go try to do the lead forms, but like I don't know, like this, here's the thing, like the sooner you figure out, this is what I was kind of like, I had this thing, I was thinking in my mind, and I almost want to have a conversation with Drew about this, about you specifically, because you're so like in the weeds, man. You're so in the weeds in terms of like getting people results. And I think it's good. But it's like you gotta get that figured out, man. Like whether you decide to, if you do the instant forms, like how long is it gonna take you to really nail it and figure that out? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't think it would take us long. Like we've got enough clients doing enough cabinet stuff. Even like Minus Media has enough money on the side that we could just do it for fun if we wanted to.
Okay.
And I don't think it would take us, especially if it's like, I don't know. I think we'd be fine to try it out just a little bit on the side. But you're right, like the leads close, you know, so
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, dude, yeah, in that case, I mean, yeah, then test it out. And it's just, yeah, go ahead and test it out and see if you can bring the cost down. But it's just a matter of your numbers numbering. Like if you're, so long as your numbers are like $40 per lead, just double everything. instead of 250 a week, it's $500 a week. And then if you can get him down to $20, then yeah, we can bring our costs down to like you can charge people less if you want to, but I don't even know that you need to. Does that make sense? Like you're already closing people at $500 a week. So if so here's the thing. If you're already closing people at $500 a week and your cost really is 40 bucks and you bring it down to 20 bucks, you'll have instead of um you can spend 60 bucks. I'm sorry, 600 bucks just like Drew is spending and then you can pocket more money. Does that make sense? That would be so yeah. So um anyways,
I'm still
um,
like confused whether he does a Facebook form because he also mentioned everything directed to his website. And
it's a
so,
form. It's a I'm
okay, but then there's a link where they can go to the website afterwards or something. I think that's what he said.
I don't think it matters. He's just pitching it as they're going through the website, and that's
Yeah,
all. I think that's
yeah,
perception. It's not necessarily.
right, right.
I Aiden, I just sent you, I don't know if you saw it, but I sent you like a few days ago, like literally his ad and his whole thing.
Yeah,
I don't,
yeah, I saw that. I
so
saw it was at the
form.
fb.me. That means it's a Facebook form.
Yep, there you go. So it's a Facebook form. It's just words. So um yeah. What else is brewing in your guys' heads, guys?
No, I mean, I feel like just with this knowledge, I think the first big domino for me is just kind of restructuring how my VA works. So rather than set times,
I
um,
it's so good because now you know this is kind of what we were harping on is like, okay, what do your KPIs need to be for your VA?
yeah,
How many discovery calls? How many sales calls? Now we
yeah,
know. Now we know. It's
yeah,
literally just two. You need to give you two sales calls per week.
yeah. I mean, what would you say? He said it was like 5 a month is his,
5 a month. 5 a month, which
yeah,
is like two.
very do
Very doable.
very doable.
Yeah. It's
And
literally
he
two
said
weeks.
hooking Mondays and Fridays, so there's no way like you shouldn't get at least five from that.
Yeah.
That like
So
blew my mind because I didn't think that Fridays were a good day to hook because I don't want to deal with the leads over the weekend. But if you have a setter like setters doing that for you, like that are working the leads for you over the weekend and they're incentivized to, then dude, why not?
yeah. So I would say, yeah, big thing is I'm gonna talk to your guy, restructure that thing. Now that we know what the VA should be doing, boom, we can start doing that. We're not worried about the day rate or anything like that. And I think the big thing is I think the big lever is going to be again you doing your sales calls, trying to close those deals, and then us still doing the 4 week thing. I'm still passionate about that. I still feel committed to that of like doing the 4 week upsell, hop on a calls and whatever, doing a little bit more. Um, I don't think Drew does anything like pushing people for finance and credit cards. I'm huge on that. I think most people do not like convince people enough and be like, hey, look, here's a deal. It's typically 2 grand a month, but if you do this, da da da, and then also we can get you some financing if that's something again you want to save the most amount of money. I think within the 4 week mark, I think you guys can do that. So now you guys collect even more cash than, again, most likely than what Drew's doing in terms of
Yeah,
cash
I
collected.
feel like that you could do it more than weekly, but the upside with this weekly is that probably over the course of the year, he's probably making a lot more. Kind of like how you broke it down for me for that one client where I got them on weekly.
The thing is, like, his churn rate is so high.
Right, right.
Churn rate is so high that it offsets it. It's like if you can, here's the thing, if you can do the 4 weeks and it seems like, okay, if you pour a shit ton into people, they're still gonna fucking churn. So it's just a matter of doing a shit ton of volume and then having a few good ones. And then so here's the thing, you have a shit ton of volume and the ones that are really good, and at the 4 week mark, you upsell them into the paid in full. That's the difference. That's the big lever, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Again, I love Drew, but that's the thing he could be going harder at.
Yeah.
Um, what else is brewing you guys' heads, guys?
I mean, everything he was saying, like even how he structures things with his VAs, how he talks to the leads on the sales call, he just sounds like a genius. Like he just everything like he just I don't know, it's just so big brain.
Yeah. Well, you give yourself,
Yeah,
some
yeah.
because the thing this isn't his first road. This is new to you maybe, but this is old to him. He already figured this out years ago
Yeah.
when he scaled his first
Yeah.
agent. This is the easy part for him. The hard part was what the hard part for him was where you guys are at in terms of your initial hooking and stuff.
Yeah, he also figured out like a lot of really cool automations, it seems like. Because I thought like someone like who's just on scaling like that, like they're just so close heavy. But like I'm actually like really impressed with like what he's been be able to figure out on the back end too, and like how he systemizes it and all that. So
He messaged me something about like having another company, which is like all AI.
mm,
So he's like doing something on the side for like AI.
cool. Yeah,
But yeah,
got it. Got it.
similar to like what you were doing with MedSpa, seems like
Yeah,
he does some more stuff. You probably saw from the YouTube videos, like if somebody tries to opt in or whatever, they leave a comment. He has an AI that like does some stuff to get them into the
yeah.
phone. Um, yeah. What else, guys?
Um, Something I'll share with you in our Slack, but it's literally the same situation that Drew did with his partner, where like this person I met was like really good sales heavy and like she has all those skills. Like she's like videographer turning into marketer and like literally was telling me about this. Like I'll tell you about it, but she's really interested for the med spa side for kind of like licensing that out or like a profit split in that sense. So
Yeah,
like yeah, it's like she seems like the perfect fit for it. Um, and so yeah, we'll definitely talk about that.
yeah, that'd be cool. That could be really cool. I mean, I thought that was really cool that he like built all this stuff out and then he just gives profit share to somebody. That was really cool as well to hear. Like that could be a cool way to scale this thing up. It could be, I wonder if you could even do something like that and then have a few people and then now you have exitability within the company,
Right.
you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of how I felt the Mets, but like I have everything built out. And so like if this person just closes a bunch and maybe I just build out the system so it's kind of tied to like my thing, then
You can even get to a level where you can like run ads. I don't like, here's the thing. Like I was wondering, I was like, what about market saturation, market share? I asked him that question, you didn't get around to answering, but like, let's say you build it out for painters and you have like systems and everything, plus like all this stuff. You could literally like run ads to people and say, hey, I have this business, I'll plug you into it. And then you charge them like some 10K, 15K high ticket thing, and then they plug into your shit.
yeah.
And then with that 10K, 15K thing, you probably use like 2K, 3K of that to like bring on more people or whatever you need to bring on, hire more people or whatever. Like, yeah. Anyways, I'm going off tangent, but and then yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Anyways,
Oh, well,
um,
interesting in the trades because I don't know, with like some plumbers and like HVAC, I'll say some to maybe a lot of contractors, they have CRMs and some of them are kind of forced to use some of these like techie backend stuff, but the vast majority of them don't have anything. They don't have anything like this. They literally their CRM is their text message, inbox kind of a thing. So that would be, yeah, a huge selling point.
yeah, for sure. Um, and I don't. It seems is he doing that or is he like keeping things bare bone? It seems like for his clients. I don't know go high level enough to understand like sub accounts and this and that. It seems like he was probably pretty keeping things pretty bare bones, where like they were just getting texts. It seems like.
Uh like the his like partner, like the people that he brought on.
So like the concrete clients that he has, it seems like they don't have like a pipeline or go high level. They don't have anything where they're like working people. It doesn't seem like it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was thinking of like people that you were to partner with to bring on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. In terms of partnering, for sure, 100%. They would need that.
Yeah, no, that was just text, it sounds like. Maybe like the AI
Hmm.
dialer.
Yeah, yeah. Um, guys, I know, do you guys have, I know we have like people type in like their questions or anything. Do you guys have like specific questions for me and Mason that you want to go over? I know we're kind of just like reflecting on what Drew shared, but did you guys have specific things you guys wanted to go over for me and Mason or no?
That just
I,
gave me some serious deja vu for some reason. But
You had deja vu? What, like in
yeah,
like what
yeah,
I just
like yeah, literally what you said, this exact scenario, literally feels like this already happened. So I have nothing else to add other than that.
maybe it happened on one of our other calls with Drew. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I wanted to ask, do you think it would be worth it for, because I feel like we're in a little bit of a unique situation where like I don't know that I feel comfortable like as much as I want to do this or like as much as I want to just fire all of our other clients, I don't feel like we're at that point yet. And so I'm like, is it worth me and Tenny both trying to close 2 deals a week? Maybe our goal should be like to close two between the two of us, where it's like, we're both, hooking business owners in 2 different cities or 2 different areas. Or should like one of us be focusing more on like, the day-to-day like client maintenance kind of a thing? I don't know. I mean, like I feel like both of us could kind of do that a little bit, but I don't know. Like, should both of us be trying to do 2 a week? Should one of us be trying to do 2 a week?
I feel like so what I think what Drew said on the coaching call, he was like speaking, he wasn't speaking to you guys directly, but his advice was specific for you guys, and it's something I said to you guys like 2 weeks ago, which is that you guys actually it was last week, which is that you guys need to do it, and the reason you need to do it is to bring the VA on until because what did he say? He said, hey, in terms of teams where before he said a single thing, he was like, hey, before anything, you need to do it yourself. And so I think it's a thing of you guys got to do it so you understand the nuances, like he said. And so I don't know if it's a thing where like you do two, Tenny does two, so you guys can combine and be like, hey, this is what I learned, do this is what I learned, or like just one person commits to it. But the person that, because like I feel like I think what could happen is you could commit to it, Aiden, and then Tenny can focus on the clients or vice versa. But like one person's got to do it. I don't necessarily think you got to fire, like you said, don't fire clients, don't do anything, just whatever comes in comes in. But like I don't I mean like can you train Tanny up where he can handle the clients? Will that be a possibility or like is because I know again Tanny's got quite a bit to learn all the stuff you've learned over the years, Aiden, but will that be a possibility? Like do you feel like you can get Tanny up to speed where like he's just doing that and then you're focusing on what you need to be focusing on? Or would it be beneficial for you to work the clients and then Tanny does the hook method and all that stuff?
100%. I mean, Tenny is pretty much there. I feel like we, just dotting the I's and crossing the T's here and there, but like Tenny's pretty much there. I don't know. I feel like I might be like a little bit more apt at the hooking and sales and stuff, but like,
Definitely, yeah.
If you're more there, then you definitely should be doing the hook and everything because you got to understand a level where you're going to be training people up, right? Like that's what you can see a lot of what Drew's doing is he's the coach, he's the mentor of the staff, right? So in that case, then I would say probably you should be doing the hooks and all that stuff. So I guess like how many hours are you putting in? How many hours is Tenny putting in right now for the agency?
well, I guess like regardless of what it is that we're working on, we're coming into the office 9 to 5, Monday through Friday.
You guys have and you guys feel like you guys have stuff to do every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, a lot of it is like a lot of it can be busy work.
Yeah.
Um, so like Tenny spends a lot of his time making new ads, a lot, which has been actually really helpful. It's been really great at innovating, and keeping costs low for leads and stuff. Um, but yeah, we're getting to a point where a lot of it is just kind of maintaining clients, just not doing a lot of heavy stuff. But
So I guess like what are his tasks versus your tasks? So I understand he's like part of doing creative to bring the cost down. What are like what else is his primary task or and then what else are you mainly focusing on in the day to day?
Tenny does a lot of go high level, a lot of ads stuff. Whenever basically video now, because like for some of our local clients, we'll offer some video stuff as well. And so Tenny will go and do a lot of that by himself now. And then he's editing those. I feel like that's really it is like ad creation. He's in the ad accounts. He's in go high level. Um, and then video.
And then what's your focus? Like where do you feel like your time is being spent most?
My time is being spent lately. It's been a lot like it's mostly communicating with clients, which is part of those are sales calls, so that's nice. But like a lot of it is just like reassuring them, maybe not like putting out fires, but yeah, just like reassuring them, just being like, hey, this is gonna be all right. This is what we're doing to fix this kind of a thing. And then like lately it's been like getting in the trenches and like rolling up my sleeves, and like last week I was doing a lot of the uh setting up a lot of landing pages to do like split testing and things like that. Um, man. And that was like kind of in between some like warm handoffs and things like that too. Like,
So I think you guys just have to, I don't know how else to say it other than like you just have to kind of decide what you want, man. It's like what I'm hearing is a ton of defense. So what is Tenny doing? Like going to go high level, doing all that stuff is like, okay, you got to do that to maintain the client. Got it. I 100% agree with that. In terms of like like you guys offering video and all that stuff to bring costs down, what is that? That's defense. You're not acquiring more customers, you're just keeping your customers. What are you doing in terms of your conversations? You're not getting more customers, you're just keeping your customer. Hey, we're doing this, we're doing that. You're a lot of everything, you're 90% of what you just said was defense, dude. 90%, not client acquisition, it's defense. And so you're putting all your time into playing defense as opposed to getting more clients. And like the thing is like the hook stuff, getting that's the starting point. The next place is going to be training your VA. And then after training your VA, then you're getting more. And then you're going to bring on a manager like Des. Like there's so much you have to do in terms of like getting this thing up to like 70, 80 grand like Drew has. A ton of offense. And you're just not going to have the mental bandwidth or the time and energy if you keep playing defense and trying to keep your clients. And there's and here and as I say, it's don't take this as a negative connotation. You have to really do your numbers and like figure out like what makes most sense. Does it make sense to play defense and keep these clients on that are paying you good money? Like they're paying you 1, 2 grand or whatever they're paying you a month. It's like, is it that or is it going to be like doing this hook thing? But you got to pick, I think.
yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah. And I think the kind of the philosophy I gave you guys last week or the week before is like whatever comes in, let it come in and let it just die. And that's like where me and Aman are at. Like we have these clients that are like our stud clients that just keep paying month after month. I'm like, okay, just like do bare maintenance on them while we do this hook thing, while we figure this thing out, which is where Aman's head's been. And it's the same advice to you guys. Like whatever clients come in, great. They came in, they gave you their hard money. Just do your best to maintain that, but don't kill yourself. Don't like go out there. I would not be going out there filming ads. I would not be editing. I would not have Tenny doing any of that stuff. I personally wouldn't be. I would just be maintaining it. Like whatever happens, happens. Costs rise up, and eventually they quote unquote fire you. And it is what it is. You got what you could in terms of cash to pay towards Midas.
Yeah, yeah, I like it.
Yeah, but you got to do something in terms of your time, man. You guys got to do something in terms of time management.
Gotta go more on offense for sure.
Yeah. So if I were to kind of give you something descriptive or like step by step, it would be get Tenny in a place where, if possible, get Tenny in a place where he does everything in terms of client fulfillment and management and retention. Like even those calls that you're having of like, hey, here's what we're doing. Like try to, I don't know if it's possible to have Tenny have those kinds of conversations. Because what that's going to do is it's almost like this, like if I were you, I would have Tenny take care of what you have going on with the Midas, with the clients that are coming in, so that all of your headspace can go to offense. So it's like
Right.
you get him on defense so that you can play offense.
100%.
That would
Okay.
be what I would do. Get him on defense so that anything that's dealing with existing clients, he can handle. If it's a sales call, like, yeah, do your thing. Like, take on sales calls, like, do your thing, dude. But as soon as you close that deal, dude, you hand that off to Tenny. Tenny's got it. So that you can again focus on this hook stuff. And you, Aiden, force yourself, quote unquote, force yourself to do 2 a week, because that's the max that we know can be done. Like that Drew is telling us that he could do 2 a week, and once he got to 3, it got fuzzy. So if he can only do 2 a week, dude, how the hell are you going to do 2 a week and manage all the stuff at Midas? It's not possible. Like
Yeah.
it's not realistic. So you need to get Tenny fully on defense so that you can fully do offense. And dude, 2 weeks, man, like 2 weeks. After that, bring on that VA, get your time back. Things are going to look a lot easier. they're not easier. They're going to be a lot better once you get that VA on. And I can, Righteous can attest to that. Elman can attest to that. You saw Drew today, like so much of his things freed up once he brought that VA on. So yeah, that would be step by step what I would do if I were you, man.
Makes sense. And if I'm able to, I don't know, I actually feel pretty good in my ability to close so far uh, after hooking them and going through that. So I feel like if I'm after 2 weeks, if I'm able to close two deals, of course I can justify spending money on a V.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not even like spending the money. Like you guys are pretty good in terms of cash flow for my it is from my understanding our conversation. It's not even a cash flow thing. It's just a thing of like you got to go through it so you can train. You gotta learn the nuances so that we can bring a V on. And the truth is, I mean, I think Drew probably did it for like a solid like 2, 3 months, man. Like he probably maybe closed like 10 clients before he brought out on a VA, maybe.
Right.
And so, but the thing is, like, you don't have to because I'm here and Aman's here and Drew's here. And so we have this knowledge that you don't necessarily need to get yourself 10 clients before you bring on your first VA. So yeah, just 2 weeks of it, dude. If you try to, close two this week, two next week, you know, or maybe, maybe you spend this week trying to do close one person and then you try to offload things to Tenny. And then next week you aim to do two closes. I think that would be possible and doable.
I know what we need to do to make that happen. So
Yeah,
work on it. That'll be
cool.
perfect.
Dope, dope. Um, Good question, man. What else is brewing in your guys' minds?
I really didn't have like a question, just like really like a plan of action for me. Just hearing Drew and how he is building his agency. Um, like he was saying like be in two markets probably at like the same time. That way you actually you're not waiting on you're still waiting on leads, but it's a little easier. That way I can get to like two sales calls or close two deals a week. So I'll be putting my focus back on that. Just of course hooking and just getting back to the madman faces and grinding. Just my current situation. So. Um, Probably get to about maybe 4 or 5 deals closed and then probably start bringing on a VA. That way the cash flow is there and it makes more sense for me to do it. But he bought up a lot of stuff, man. Tons of sauce. I even like how he recycles the leads. Like I know we say that like on the call, but like I wasn't actually doing it. So like this to hear him actually like recycle the leads was like okay. Like you gotta be on it, right? So you gotta work these leads no matter what, even if a trial fails. Because I think that's one thing that I was like kind of hurt me a lot was like once a trial fails, like oh fuck, I gotta go hook another BO and then get more leads. But you can just recycle those leads and just say, hey, we got somebody else. Do you want another free quote? So I thought that was super powerful. Um,
Right, just that's what happened with our first close in Phoenix. I hooked a guy in the Phoenix area. He fell off. But we had already generated him some leads. So then we hook another guy, follow up with those leads, and he closed him the very next and picked up a check the very next day after like the first day we sent him over. He went to his house same day. The next day he went and picked up a check and closed him. That was during the free trial. So like, yeah, anyways, that's super powerful to be able to turn around and just hook somebody else and rework those leads is so huge.
Yeah, because I just had a guy turn in Memphis, so like I can go back in Memphis and just hook some BOs and then just start hitting those leads. And if they're picking up, I can pitch those leads over to them, or if not, I can turn the ads back on and get them some fresh new leads. So, because I do feel like sometimes they might not be working the leads, like to like because they're busy, they're out doing estimates. So. I like how Drew is like, I have an assistant, that can, my team will pretty much work those leads if need be, but he's using AI to do it. So that was another powerful tip because I'm learning a little bit about the Go High level AI. I'm just still trying to get it all the way together. But yeah, it's interesting how he's doing his because he's not creating like I don't think he's creating multiple pipelines for each client. Like I don't think it sounds like he may not be doing that. Like he's just using one go high level. So I know that's insane because I know it's probably looking like a mess, but I'm sure he's got it dialed in. I think another thing, what else was he bringing up? Oh, it just selling the brand aspect of it. I feel like on the sales call, like, I'm geared towards like, hey, this is how I get the ads. I'm just trying to sell Facebook ads, but be more, hey, it's a site that's generating a ton of leads. We Google, they're coming from all over. That way they don't really know. They just know the leads are coming in. So he had a lot of sauce for sure.
Mhm. Yeah. I think for you, Righteous, you want to go as I mean, I feel yeah. I feel like for you, you want to continue to like go all out in terms of your sales calls, do it on Zoom and everything, and give yourself the best shot to close. Not like him where he's like only spending 20 minutes. He's in a different place where like he's like, yeah, take it, leave it, whatever. He can afford, he's got enough margins, got enough cash where he's in a place where like fuck it. He's not gonna spend a bunch of time and energy. But I think you want to continue to do what you're doing. You want to continue to do what you were doing, no VA right now, and be more look like again, be more careful with the cash, which is again recycling those leads and like just squeezing every dollar out, like make every dollar count. That's the I think core thing with you. Um, yeah, communication on the hook calls, communication on the warm handoff. Continue to work on that. That's it. Like the big thing with you is just being more careful with the cash. That's it. That just being more stringent with the cash. That's the big thing with you. Um, Everything else, I think you were doing just fine, just fine. Um, you can maybe even go back. One thing that could be good is like the people that you did close that did churn, you can maybe work those leads and see if you can get another business owner. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's four people you close and there's hundreds of leads probably that you can work through. That's maybe worth working through right now. That
Absolutely.
there's probably some free money there. There's probably like maybe one or two close, like maybe two close that you can have just from all those leads without spending a single dollar on generating any more leads. So it's stuff like that. It's like that kind of attitude. It's like how do I maximize what I've already done? That's the big thing. It's like take what you've already done. Let's squeeze more. I feel like there's a lot of juice left in the lemons that you have. We can squeeze more out of that.
Absolutely. I still got people texting me from Memphis. Well, not anymore, but I had like maybe a few last week from Memphis that were like that had end up replying, and I had been in other markets for weeks now. So I was like,
See,
go back and do it, just get back to work.
yeah, go hit up the leads and then see if you can get a few to pick up and then get them over to business owner, see what you can do there. And then we can try and maybe close some of those business owners out of Memphis.
Also, my VA, he's no longer with me anymore. He like stopped replying, so I'm assuming he thought that he was gonna get fired or something because he couldn't like really hook three business owners, and it was like a week. But like I went logged into my Google Voice, and there was like 11 business owners that were replying. I was like, what the fuck is this guy doing? So I was like, okay, there's another opportunity there in Clarksville to hook those business owners and get some leads over to them. So
So you think you sent a bunch of managers like stop trying to make this all work and stuff?
so I believe like Thursday he it was sent out some texts last week, and then he did like a no call no show Friday, which was like the next day, and then I haven't heard from him since then. And then I just went back in and looked to try to see like what was going on and what leads replied and everything like that. But I went through the Google Voice and I found like at least 10 business owners that were like, yes, responding to text. And somebody even called me on the Google number yesterday. So I'm like, yeah, I gotta get back to work. So
Yeah, fair. Cool. I think we know what we need to do, Righteous. What else is top of mind for you, bro?
I think that was pretty much it because Drew hit just about every point for me. I was surprised that he's like not really onboarding clients. I was like, wow, that's freaking crazy. But I'll still continue should we still continue to onboard or just kind of have it like maybe on the sales call, just
I
have
think
like maybe a 5-10 minute section where we run through, what happens next.
I don't think so. I think it depends on like just where you're on the journey. I think if you can afford to do it, go for it, Righteous. Like if you got the time and energy for it, but like go do it. He's in a different place where he was from day one, he was just like trying to do volume, volume, volume. And like he's kind of like you, it's kind of like 80-20 rule, right? Like it's like he's putting in 80% of the effort where he could put in 100%, but he's just like, nah, it's not worth it. I just need to do high volume. Versus you and Aman and A, you guys can put it in 100%. You guys can do the onboard, you guys can do all that stuff. So like continue to do it until you can.
Okay. Okay. No, that makes sense.
For you especially, like you want to squeeze the juice out of the lemon. You want to like as much as you can. You want to be as thorough as you possibly can. Yeah. Um, yeah. I think there's a time and a place where you don't have to, but like not right now. Um, what else? What I thought was interesting is like how they get text messages throughout the week and then only one phone call at the very end. That was something that I thought was like, wow, that's crazy. It seems like he's getting away with murder by doing that. But again, I get it because his churn rate is so high and it's just a volume game, so I get it. It's almost like what would his churn rate reduce to if he did more? I don't know that it makes a huge difference actually. You know what I mean? So I feel like I get his logic. I understand it.
Like ultimately, it comes down to the person.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it comes down to a person. So it's like when you get that stud, you identify it, and then maybe you just put more resources into that person. Like I'll tell you right now, I got 4 sales calls this week. Um, I'm not really putting time and energy into any of them. Like I'm not really working them. I'm not doing shit because like I don't think there any of them are like studs. I don't think any of them are worth pursuing. I don't think any of them like I could put a bunch of time and energy into working them and trying to close them, but it's like I don't think any of them are really going to close anyways. So, um, anyways. Um, what else you got? Righteous, Aman, Aiden.
Not much, man. Just gonna eat and let all this digest.
Yeah, there's a lot to digest from our conversation today. Aiden, Tenny, you guys got anything?
Um, I just kind of what you were just saying, Krishik. I feel like you know, I have clients where they get leads day in, day out. I never hear from them. They never have to hear from me, and they're happy as a clam, and they are always paying on time when they need to. And I think like I think this the thing will be it'll be the exact same way with these guys where it's like, you set expectations, they know like they have to and just like he said, like maybe their card declines or they didn't pay, like you have to send them a friendly reminder, but like you set expectations, like they know that they're and as long as they're closing and getting appointments, they're going to be happy enough to make that happen. I don't know. I just like
You're right. You're right. And that's who you want, and the rest you just have to let die, bro. You just gotta be willing to let them die. Jeremy isn't right here, but I would make a joke about him, but he's like one of those for me, where like he's been with us for like 9 months, and I don't gotta worry about the dude. And from time to time, we chop it up on these calls, and that's it. He's a great guy. He's doing his thing. Versus, I've had other people where I'm like, it's a fucking nightmare. I gotta pull my fucking. It's like, fuck it. It's just not worth it. You know? So yeah, that's the right attitude. Like right now, just you know, sign up for that, agree to that, be okay with that, understand that people are gonna die, and it's okay, and that's the cost of you guys getting to this next level, and doing what we're doing here. So, um, yeah. Anything you got, Tenny? Any questions or anything, man?
I don't have any questions. That was just really cool to hear his whole journey, and yeah, it was inspirational.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. That's the one thing I hope you guys all got, like a lot of inspiration from that. Like just seeing him do it. He's in here doing the exact fucking thing we're all doing. So if he can do it, I know we all can do it. So I think maybe that's why I was so geeked. It just when he went through, I'm like, the sauce is here. It's possible, guys. But anyways, righteous. I'm on anything before wrap this up.
Oh no, that's pretty much everything for me.
Okay, I'll shoot you a message, Righteous, after this. I'm gonna go get some food and everything, and I'll shoot you a message. Aiden, I'm gonna shoot you a message as well. I know you're conquering everything. I spoke to Drew for you, and so I'm gonna get you guys connected regarding that stuff. Um, and Aman, I think you know what we need to do, so I think we're good there. But yeah, all
I'll
right, guys.
message you about that one person that I was telling you about.
Cool.
So I'll just update you there.
Yeah. And then the YouTube video, I saw that you saw that. I haven't replied to that yet because I, I thought it
Okay.
was really important and I was gonna like drop voice notes, but you took away from it what I think I wanted you to take away from it.
Cool.
But yeah, okay, guys, if that's everything, I'm gonna drop this video in the channel so you guys can rewatch it if you guys want to, and we'll see you guys next week.